Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. We are, of course, live ahead of FPL Game Week 30. Make sure you are getting your questions in ahead of this week. I do think it is going to be a very busy and active deadline stream. Already, we've got decent numbers, and the stream has only just begun. Of course, as well, we've got a poll. Make sure you're getting your votes in for the best captain for Game Week 30. I do think it is going to be a very interesting week in terms of captaincy. Obviously, Haaland on a usual week, given the fact that he's playing West Ham away, a team that he has such a great record against, you probably would say he would be the best captain. However, with, of course, some potential rotation in there, Champions League either side of this fixture, maybe we could see a potential, benching or reduced minutes. People, of course, given his recent form, are looking to sell him off as well. So, like I said, could be a very interesting week. So get your votes in, of course, for the captaincy poll. Of course, if you are enjoying the stream as well, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing as well, as we are on that road to 30,000 subscribers. And it would be great. It would be great to hit that goal before the end of the season, wouldn't it? Let's have a look what we've got in the chat already. We've got plenty of active people already. Andy's in the chat as well. You sound how I feel. I sound all right. I think I just went the Wakey game last night, and my voice is a little bit raspy, to say the least. Yeah, I'll check Discord in a second, mate. Obviously, if you do want to get your team reviewed, head over to our Discord server. Let me pop the link in the chat for that one. Let's have a look. Where's the link for that? The FPL Cartel. Where is it? FPL Cartel. Here it is. Let me get the link for you guys. Like I said, if you want to get your team rated, the model, everything that is good is all in there. So yeah, come and check it out. Yeah, that's where team ratings will be today. What transfers am I making? A very, very good question today. We could roll, which would probably be the most sensible move. Take 3 into next week. Then, of course, we're looking to wildcard in game week 32 anyway. So post wildcard in 33, we'd end up actually having 4 free transfers. So it would put us in a very nice position to, of course, manage any potential surprise double game weeks or anything like that. It probably is the wise and sensible move, right? But I don't think it's the one I'm maybe going to go for. Like I said, I've got 2 free transfers this week. The moves that I am thinking about, if I am to make any, would be dropping Haaland for João Pedro, and it would be getting rid of Morgan Rogers or Enzo Fernandes and bringing in, what's his name, Mohamed Salah. Those would be the moves that I would go for. If we were to bring in Salah as well, I probably would give him the armband. Like, we're in a position now where I've probably got to start playing, like, a little bit risky. And I put a tweet out earlier this week saying, people have got to start playing their own games, to be honest. So, yeah. And maybe this is just me playing my own game, going against the curve a little bit here. And, yeah, just kind of going for it, to be honest. Tom, would you bench Anderson or Enzo? I probably would bench Enzo, to be honest. Anderson is just so notorious for his just consistent point scoring. Literally, Enzo got an assist last week and still managed to get what Anderson gets on a regular week. So, yeah, I personally would probably go Elliot Anderson. I just think he's so consistent in terms of his point scoring ability. I've just noticed that says game week 29. It isn't game week 29. Let me update the thing for you. It is game week 30. And the deadline is 1:30, I believe. There we go. Just like magic. There we go. Seamless. You never even knew. There you go. Maybe. I think just with the front two, though, there definitely has been a drop-off in terms of Haaland's numbers since they've obviously brought in Semenyo. So, you look at the recent scores, and he really isn't justifying his price point, is he, to be honest? Neither is Salah. Like, this is the thing. Neither has Salah. None of the premiums realistically are going to be doing it. So, yeah. Realistically, how many double game week players will you have in 33? There are a lot of good single game weeks that week. I will try and get 15 if I'm going to play the bench boost. Just because, I've been down this narrative before of having single game week players. I did this a few years ago, right? I can't remember what game week was. It was maybe like 33, potentially 36 a few years ago. There was a massive double game week, right? And I can't remember who the forward was, but he was banging form. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get him ahead of a double game week player. Started him in my side. And of course, the double game week player, Mateta, went off. And like, I swear one of his fixtures wasn't even like that good. But he went off and got like 30 points across the double game week. So my advice is still go for probably as many doublers as possible. Like, having 2 games is ridiculous. And when, of course, you see predicted points as well, it will always put those like double game week players top of that list, right? So that still would probably be the place. Speaking from someone who got burnt, like it was 100k red arrow in a double game week for me because I played a single game week player. So I've learnt my lesson there. I personally would try and avoid just single game week players. I think I would just, load it up on doublers because, like I said, you've got 2 bites at the cherry, really, and that would be the play that I would realistically go for. Yeah, he just looks a little bit off, doesn't he? I would personally use my transfers rather than wildcarding. I think the 32 wildcard is looking even better as time just passes because we're going to get so much information around the doubles, around the blanks, that setting the team up is going to be so easy to do. Why Bruno over Haaland captain? I have both. Personally, for me, I think Bruno has just been one of the most consistent players. Villa as well have been really poor, especially away from home. They haven't won, or they've only won one of the last 5, I believe, away from home. Manchester United are actually 5 unbeaten at home at the moment. Like I said, Bruno has just been so consistent that I do think he is probably one of the top shouts for captaincy this week. And looking at the poll, what we can see early doors, Bruno Fernandes up to 49%, Haaland at 22%, 10 at other. If you are voting for other, let me know who you are going for. And then finally, Liverpool players at 19. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at for that one, to be honest. But yeah, Bruno absolutely dominating early doors here. Bench Wilson or start him. I have Alderente first up. I'm going to play Wilson. Look, it seemed quite encouraging, the comments that we got from Marco Silva. Of course, there's another day in between the game as well, so he's got plenty of time to get himself back and available. And it sounded like from his own interview that he did with the BBC that he should be available for, maybe like definitely next week. It is definitely a gamble, and I still probably would play him. But yeah, I understand if people do want to bench him this week. Hello, mate. I have 5 free transfers. I've used my wildcard, though. How many transfers do you think it's worth to get Ekatike? I'm looking to cap him. I could do Rice to Vert or Ndai Sobo for 1 transfer. Personally, for me, if I've got 5 free transfers and I've not got my wildcard, I probably would only be making like very minimal moves, like maybe 1 or 2 moves this week. I would want to be taking as many into game week 32 as possible because, like I said, everybody who's got a wild card left is going to be wild carding. They're going to be looking at doubles. They're going to be looking at blanks. So if your team's fine for this week and realistically could probably get away with it, I, for me, probably would like use 1 transfer, then I would get to 5 again for next week, use 1 transfer, take 5 into 32. That is what I would be doing if I was in that situation because, like I said, for me personally, I do just feel that, in that position, if you've not got the wild card, you've got a nice luxury there of having the 5 potentially for game week 32 to set the team up in the correct way, right? So yeah, Rayan or Bowen, pick one. I probably would go Rayan, but Bowen is just such a consistent player, isn't he? He is genuinely so consistent. But yeah, there we go. Munoz, I think we got an update around Munoz. Let me just check the cartel Discord because we've got like a nice team news section in there where we always put like good team news. Like it's very, very good for finding out stuff. And I believe there was some stuff around Munoz yesterday. Let's have a look. Here we go. I'm going to the Crystal Palace website now. What's he said here? Crystal Palace were without after sustaining an injury. Speaking on Thursday, Glasner conducted his press conferences. Munoz will require further assessment, is what we got about that one. So Munoz will require further assessment. That, to me, doesn't give me the most encouragement that he's going to play. So, yeah. Play Wilson or bench him. Sell Gardner for Sharda. I mean, Gardner's just fine, isn't he? He's just going to probably get steady 4s every single week. Obviously, Wolves have been a little bit more improved at the moment. I would personally just play Wilson. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. Tom, what about Haaland to Ekatike this week? I don't mind that, and I think that is probably going to be quite a popular move that people will look for to get themselves into a Liverpool player. Ekatike, as I've said for weeks, having owned him, can be brilliant, can be super frustrating. Like the levels that guy goes to where he'll go, oh, I'm amazing, I'll get a 15-pointer, to then going getting absolutely nothing and just frustrating you. That is what you get with Ekatike. There are also I would say maybe some concerns around minutes. I know I've seen the jump the wave predictions. I think he's like at 100%. So it seems like a lot of the Liverpool predictors think he will play. But yeah, it's kind of one of those, isn't it, really? Would you start Hill or Munoz? I think obviously just given the update we've had on Munoz there, I probably would go with Hill. Would you sell Sanchez for Kelleher? Depends if you've got another goalkeeper. I really do believe goalkeeper transfers are a waste. Yeah, I do think they are a bit of a waste, to be honest. I just don't see the point. They're literally the worst position for points. So yeah, I would try and make as minimal goalkeeper transfers as possible. To me, to be honest. Bench Tavernier or Elliot Anderson? Oh, I definitely would play Tavernier this week. I don't like benching penalty takers, as you've known if you've watched this stream for a while. Yeah, I personally would play Tavernier there. That's the move I would make on that one. If you're enjoying today's stream, by the way, guys, make sure you are hitting that like button. It does help, obviously, push the stream out to more people. So please do hit that like button. Like I said, it is really appreciated. If we could all hit the like button, like I said, it pushes the stream out to more people. Hill or Senesi. I mean, if I was going to buy one, I think just for the price alone, Hill is just such a good option. We've got a few team reviews sent in already, so we're going to have a look at some of those in a second. Would you do Munoz to Van der Berg and Evan Nielsen to João Pedro? I probably would. Yeah, I could see that. Play Elliot Anderson or Gravenberch. I would personally play... I think I'll have to look at the goals conceded, Fred, but I think Spurs are pretty bad from centre mids, so I'd be maybe tempted to go Gravenberch on that one. Ben's in the chat. Good morning, mate. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, we'll go and check out some teams. Let's have a look at some teams then. Let's have a look. Let's bring up the Discord. I always forget to load into the Discord. By the way, if you do join the FPL Cartel Discord, this is where you need to send in your teams to the section marked deadline. And then finally, the FPL Tom section. Of course, if you're watching Golden Stream, make sure you're going to put it in the Golden section. Easy peasy. Right, we've got Janice. He says, thinking of taking a -4 and going Haaland to Gui and Ekatike and Pedro, or Haaland and Rice to Salah and Pedro, or just roll. I think for the -4, I probably would be more tempted to roll. Like, I think you've got a pretty decent squad there, right? You've got a back three at the minimum if Anderson and Munoz don't play. Rice, Rodgers, Dango, Wilson, and Bruno is a very strong midfield five already. And I think Arsenal will do fine in that game. I really do. I think Gabriel, like I put him as one of my captain suggestions for TikTok this week because I do believe he could be a decent option. I think Everton, are second or third from goals conceded to centre back. So yeah, maybe Gabriel could have a good game this week. I think Rice is completely fine as well because if they do get that set piece situation, he'll of course get some points as well. So I personally probably wouldn't take the -4. I think I would just sit on my hands. I probably would roll through with that one, mate. Ben says, hi, Tom. One free transfer, 0.7 million in the bank. What is your trip strategy? Would you bench boost with Heaven, someone, or save it? Also, would you roll or go Haaland to someone else? Would you captain? Okay, you've got your wild card, you've got your bench boost. So I think for me personally, you probably would be looking to save the bench boost, go in... game week 33. So you would wildcard in 32, set your team up with the doublers, and then look to probably go there. That would be the strategy that I probably would suggest for you, mate. In terms of your transfers, yeah, I understand the appeal of maybe getting rid of Haaland. Of course, you're probably going to be trying to play through next week. Looking at your side already, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 players that blank next week. So obviously one of them... 2 of them probably are going to have to come out at some point. Semenyo, Haaland, Timber, Gabriel. So I probably would say maybe worth just holding the transfer this week. Get yourself in a position where obviously you can take both you can take a Haaland, you can take a Semenyo, you can take a Timber out and have a full playing 11 for next week. Because of course, Heaven isn't playing games. Krupi and Enzo should play. That's fine. Verbergen and Dubravka have fixtures. So again, that's fine. But yeah, of course, at the moment, you've got 4 players that do blank next game week. So yeah, trying to navigate that with only 1 free transfer could be a little bit sticky, especially if you go somebody outside of Erling Haaland. So for me, the advice would probably be to roll, take 2 into next week, and then get rid of like a Haaland, a Timber, a Semenyo, any of those 3. And then, yeah, build a decent team there. Wildcard in 32, bench boost in 33. That would be the play for me, mate. That's the one I would personally go for in that regard. Of course, if you want to come and get your team reviewed by me, we will be doing them over in the FPL Cartel Discord, so make sure you are getting yourself involved with that one. Plenty of good stuff going off in there as well, as always, guys. Right, let's head back to my team. Let's see what the chat has got going off. Hi, mate. Start one of Dewsbury Hall, Anderson, or Rogers. I personally would... Is that EN? So that's the defender one. I would be maybe tempted to go like Rogers there then. Yeah, I do. Oh, that -4 could be tempting. That -4 could be don't. Oh, I do like that -4. I do like that -4. It could be genuinely the play. It's risky. It is risky, but I do like it, mate. It definitely could be the move. And if you are feeling a little bit, risky today, a little bit risky and frisky, then maybe that is the play you want to go for. We can have a go on the Holy Coin if you want to have a flip on that. I do like it if you are going to captain Salah. Could be a mega differential because Spurs have so many injuries. It's absolutely ridiculous at the moment how many players they do have out. What move do you prefer, Tom? Haaland and Krupi to Ekatike and Pedro, or Haaland and Ndai to Wirtz Sobo? Free hit strategy 33. Haaland and Krupi. Probably the Haaland and Krupi. I would personally probably look to go with Salah just because of penalties. Like I think captaining a penalty taker is probably the play for me. I always like to captain penalty takers. I feel very... It's kind of one of those where it's a bit of a broken metric, isn't it? Like, it's just one of those things where, the player can not even be having a good game. Like, Ekatike might be playing the better game, but Salah gets that penalty. There's some guaranteed points straight off the bat. We've already seen it so many times this season where Bruno's been on, a 2-pointer. They get a penalty, completely changes him. So, for me, I would always back the penalty taker with my armband. But again, up to your personal risk appetite. If you're feeling a little bit more spicy, Ekatike definitely has those big double-digit holes in him. The problem, of course, is he doesn't have the penalties, so that probably puts me off him in a little bit. Wilson is a little bit risky, but, we haven't got, anything to say, the minutes are going to definitely be, terrible this week, but, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe, like I said, if we make the move for Mohamed Salah, then we probably would bench him. That would probably be it. There's 172 of you in the chat already, and we've only got 24 likes. Come on, guys. You know what to do by now. Get those likes in. Let's see if we can get this bad boy up to 50 likes nice and early. Of course, we've had a little bit of a break from FPL, so it would be great if we could smash some likes, get plenty of views in today. It would be really appreciated, as always, guys. It really would. Obviously, we'll take a look at some Jump the Waves predictions in a second. Bench 2 of Rice, O'Reilly, Wilson, and Truffert. I personally would actually be tempted to bench O'Reilly. I think he was at a 50% on the Jump the Wave predictions for this week, so that would be enough to probably make me put off him. And I think just if Wilson is a doubt, you go with Truffert, you go with Rice. Both have pretty nice fixtures. That's probably where I would go on that one. The Salah/Pedro is just tempting, but sensible person in me says not to. But then again, Praz is considering it. Yeah, look, I do think it is a very good set of moves because João Pedro is continuing to rise in terms of ownership. I think some people will be tempted to chuck the armband on him this week. I really do, right? I think obviously his recent form as well is absolutely insane. So, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Who to start? Alderente, Krupi, or Enzo? A Sunderland away. Sunderland are at home. Oh, we can have a look on my model, mate. Let's take a look at the model. See what the model's got. So who have we got there? We've got Alderente, Krupi, and Enzo. Let's have a gander. By the way, guys, if anybody else wants to get some of these model predictions done, we can take a look at them. So we've got Enzo, Krupi, and Alderente. Who is coming out top this week? It's actually coming out top with Enzo Fernandes at 5.1, which is pretty high for Enzo, to be fair. Alderente at 4.2, though. I personally would be tempted to go with Alderente. I just think Sunderland at home is always a good bet. But yeah, I do like it. I do like, Alderente as a pick. That would personally be the one I would go for. My model is suggesting Enzo. But yeah, I guess kind of take your pick from that one here, really. Krupi Jr. or Rogers. I personally would probably go Rogers on that one. Hill or O'Reilly, and Dango or Wilson. I probably would go Hill and Dango. Like I said, O'Reilly only around 50% on the jump the wave predictions. Probably would be yeah, not great. Please do it for Sharda versus Wilson. Yep. Let's have a look. Clear these. Sharda. Harry Wilson. Comes out with Sharda ahead this week by 0.3 points. So there's not too much in it. But yeah, of course, if you want to we can have a look at the next 2 game weeks as well. As you can see, we've got lots of good tabs down here. Again, you've got access to all this if you want to join the cartel, so you can have a look at your own picks as well. Harry Wilson and Dango Otara. Let's have a look who comes out on top. So Dango comes out ahead this week, but over the next 2, of course, as you can see, they're slightly better projected points for game week 31 for Harry Wilson. So yeah, that's where we're at, guys. All right, there we go. There we go. Another quick one: the Bergen or Dubravka. Yeah, we can have a look at that, mate. Let's have a look back to game week 30. The Bergen and Dubravka. Actually has Dubravka coming out quite clean ahead on that one. So yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm going to tell you now, Salah will come out ahead of Ekatike. Ekatike's points per game is trash. And obviously that is the main thing this model is built off of. But yeah, I'm telling you now, it's going to come out Salah on top. There you go. Boom. Again, Salah's points per game this season haven't been terrible, but his points per game, obviously, in past seasons, really do elevate him as a pick. That is why it will boost him up. I really like Tavernier. I think Tavernier is an absolutely exceptional pick. Penalties. I mean, he did some serious points dodging last week, but yeah, he would be one of the players that this week I think could really go big with that Burnley fixture. So yeah, I do like him. I think he could be a very tidy option to go for. Hi Tom, I'm really confused on keeping Mbuemo or selling him. I already have Semenyo, Bruno, Palmer, Enzo. Who should I get? I don't personally see the problem in keeping Mbuemo for this week. Again, the model is a big fan of him for the next few weeks. I personally probably would hold on to him. Yeah. Delo versus Anderson. Please, I'm the only one with Delo in my team. Yeah, let's do this final one then, and then we'll head to do some team reviews on Discord, and then we'll answer some more questions. So Delo, Anderson. Comes out with Delo on top on that one. So yeah, that's where I would go with that one. Right, we've had J-Lo's team. He says lineup and thoughts, bench boost or wait for double game week 33. It is a nice bench boost that it could be. I probably would just say maybe with Wilson slightly being a doubt, I probably would maybe swerve the bench boost for this game week. You've obviously got the wild card. You can set it up with 15 doublers. Again, I probably would personally wait. And I think just with Wilson being that slight bit of a doubt, probably would maybe give it a swerve. Loving the Salah captaincy, though. Big and brave. I like it, mate. I do like it. Ekatike in there as well. João Pedro. It is big. It is bold. It is nice. Big fan of that J-Lo. But yeah, I personally would wait, personally, for me. Like I said, you've got the wild card. You can set the team up. You don't have to rush things through here, mate. No rushing of things through there. Easy peasy. Yep, I can put the Discord in the chat. Give me a second. There is the link to the FPL Cartel Discord if you want to come and get yourself involved in that. We're up to 50 likes already. Legends. Absolute legends already. Do keep the likes obviously coming in. It is, like I said, really appreciated on the channel. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Would you swap Rice to Tavernier? I think Rice is completely fine to play this week. The Tavernier is very, very exciting, though, and could be one of those players that really does go off. But yeah, I probably would be maybe just tempted to sit there. As a City fan, we we go pretty strong, but can see defenders and wingers change. Yeah, I think on the jump the wave, it was like Semenyo was at like 75. O'Reilly was at like 50%. So yeah. Hi, Tom. Triple captain recommendations. For the triple captaincy, we're going to have to wait and see. Because obviously 33 is the big double. We potentially might get a double for City in 32. There might be a double further down the line for City in 36. It is pretty much just seeing how the European games play out, and of course, how the FA Cup fixtures play out. So what you are realistically going to need is City probably to come back. City to obviously win their next European game. And then you're also going to need City to win their FA Cup game to probably unlock another double game week. Because like I said, 33 is probably where most people are going to bench boost because it's a fat double, and that's probably going to be the way to go for it. Timber, I've seen a few journalists saying like he's dead on his feet and stuff like that. That's probably why they've dropped on review this morning. Genuinely, that will be the reason that review has dropped them. Obviously, they take that into account. They'll probably be, again, looking at those jump the wave predictions and going, yeah, we need to drop him down because they're too high. That'll genuinely be it. And Mbeumo to Wirtz, I don't like. This is the thing for the next two fixtures. I don't mind Mbeumo. I think Mbeumo could be one of those players that could still just do quite nicely over the next few weeks. I get the appeal of Wirtz, and if he does play in the 10, I think that is a position that Spurs are very vulnerable from. I will get the goals conceded thing up in a second and have a look at that. But yeah, I do think that is one of their main positions where they are quite vulnerable from. Let's have a look. Let me get that up for you. Morning, mate. Hope you're doing good. Discord has been active today. Active. Apparently, Tottenham are looking at replacements for Igor Tudor already. So yeah, that sums up where he's at, doesn't it? Right, where are Spursy? Where are they? So yeah, Spurs are third for goals conceded to left wingers, fifth for cams and CDMs in the league. So yeah, someone was asking me about Gravenberch earlier. He could be a fine buy or a fine start at least. Cams as well, Wirtz or Szoboszlai, whoever plays in that role could really, really do quite well today. Gabriel, Senesi, Frimpong, Mateus Nunes, any three, please suggest. I personally would probably go... Is Frimpong going to play? I need to see the jump the wave predictions. Gabriel, Senesi, and probably Nunes would be the ones I would go for. Let me just check the jump the wave predictions, see where Frimpong and Nunes are. Whoever's got the higher, I probably would go for. Ekatike cap, I don't mind. He very easily can get those double-digit hauls. Personally, for me, though, I like to always captain a penalty taker. I think it's just one of those things that is always in my criteria for captaining a player is do they have penalties? And that is quite high up there as well. Hi, Tom. I have the money to go from Palmer to Salah in one transfer without taking a hit. I already have Ekatike. I personally would do it. If you've got the ability to do that in one free transfer, yeah, I probably would. A lot of people looking to potentially remove Brian Mbeumo this week. Let me have a look where Villa's conceded is from. CDMs and centre-backs, so it's probably going to be a good day for Casemiro. I personally don't think I probably would maybe sell him off. I know he's had a few disappointing game weeks, but he is still very consistent. His points per game have been very, very nice. I get the appeal of the Bournemouth midfielders. Like, Tavernier, yes, is probably more exciting than Brian, given the fact that he's got penalties, set pieces, all that good jazz. Yeah, he is a very interesting player. Let me find where the when's the Burnley game? So yeah, Burnley, second for goals conceded to right wingers, third for forwards, fourth for CDMs. So it could be some mega hauls. Where is Where's Tavernier been playing? Has he been playing on the right or has he been playing on the left? Let's have a look at Bournemouth's last lineup. Bournemouth. I can't spell it. Bournemouth. Let's have a look. So, where did he play in this one? That is on the left, so not the right. Rayan though could do big today. Could do big. He could do very, very big. Do you think Virgil will score? I mean, Spurs are literally leaking centre backs. They haven't got anybody. They're riddled. So yeah, it could be a big day for Liverpool players. It really could. I'm absolutely petrified if I do make the move. You know, that is one of the things I am a little bit worried, but at the same time, we're gonna let the coin decide like if that is the right move. Yeah, we're letting a coin decide if obviously this is the correct transfer to go for. Mental, but we're here. We're here. We have faith in the coin. Of course, we have faith in the coin. The coin knows all. I would say Munoz is probably less likely to start than Wilson. Wilson, the quote was he's in contention. Munoz was basically like, we'll have to assess it. I know people are saying they don't trust Liverpool. I understand that. Like, they have been pretty shaky. But the only thing I would say on the basis of that is Spurs are worse. Spurs are really bad. Like, they are, yeah, they're not a good club. They're not in a good position. They're really not. What do you think about Rice to Palmer? I don't really like that move for me personally. I'm not the biggest fan of that one. Morning, Abby. Hope you're doing good. Start Virgil or Gahey. I probably would go with Virgil. Hi, mate. Sell Timber for Virgil. I have Van der Berg, Tarkowski, Alderente in my defense. Yep, that move makes sense to me. Free transfers. Haaland, Lafay to João Pedro plus Salah. I think there's probably better, cheaper midfielders than Lafay. He's lost penalties now, so his predicted points on a lot of models has really nosedived. So yeah, I personally would probably be looking at other cheaper midfielders. You've got Andersons, you've got Stacks. Those guys have more going for the game than Lafay at the moment. Yeah, I mean, Salah definitely is it hasn't been at the same level that we've seen in previous seasons. I will grant you that, yes. And I do think that is one of the concerns I am having about potentially bringing in Mohamed Salah ahead of this game week is his recent form. But there is always that temptation with Salah. All it takes is like a few dodgy penalties against Spurs and we could be absolutely laughing. Stack or Rodgers? I actually genuinely think I'd probably go Stack, you know. Yeah. Is Sharda a good differential to catch up with my rivals who own Dango? We all have Thiago. I don't mind Sharda. He's fine, yeah. Senesi in for Mook. Makes sense. Start Rodgers or Richards. Tempted to go with Rodgers. As you can see, I've kind of made my choice on that decision. Play Anderson or Wilson. I probably would play Anderson. Semenyo or Bruno for captain thoughts. Semenyo, I think on the Jump the Wave predictions was actually quite low. So I would be tempted to actually probably give it more to Bruno. Yeah. I have Timber, Sleeper, Hill, Coyote. Who should I bench for Rodgers? I mean, maybe Timber if we think he's not going to potentially play, or Saliba. Those would probably be the two. How comes Richards over Anderson? Anderson didn't play the last few games for what's it called? For Fulham, for whatever reason. I know he was ill for one of the games, so maybe he's coming back from something. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is why I benched him. And he's also his points per game have actually been pretty crap this season. They're not great. They're not great, his points per game. So, yeah, that is where we're at with that one. Would you do a Haaland plus Rice to João Pedro plus Salah this week to prepare for the blank game week? You very easily could. You very easily could. You very easily could. Right, we've had some more predictions sent in. So not predictions, teams for review over on Discord. So let me bring them up, and then we'll head over to the Jump the Wave predictions as always. Like I said, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed by me, I will put a link in the chat to the FPL cartel. There is the link for that one. And yeah, get your teams reviewed and sent in and all that good jazz. And if you're enjoying the stream, obviously do hit that like button. Let's see if we can get the stream up to 100 likes nice and early. And of course, make sure you're hitting subscribe as always. Right, let's have a look what we've got sent in then. It's a boy 065 says, "Hi Tom, should I roll this week?" The problem I would have, how many you got next week? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so your bench is full. Keane is not playing games anymore. So I actually think probably Michael Keane might be one of the players Michael Keane, Rice, or Haaland probably would be top of my transfer list for the next few weeks. Keane doesn't play, and like I said, if you've got to get through next week, you need to be benching Rice, Gabriel, Haaland without making any moves. So yeah, those probably would be the three that I personally would be looking to get rid of this week out of that team. You could very easily roll, take 2 into next week, deal with Rice and Keane and Haaland or whatever next week. You could take a -4, get Haaland out, get Rice out. That could also be pretty exciting maybe for this week. But yeah, I would either say roll, take 2 into next week and deal with the blankers there, or look to replace Keane, Rice, Haaland this week. There you go. Thoughts on this team, who to bench and who to start. I got a 500k red arrow. Oh my days. I want to gain some rank, but I don't know what to do. Any tips? Mate, that is brutal. A brutal red arrow. Okay, let's have a look. So you've got some... This team's good. This team is genuinely good for this week. I think that is a very easy team to roll out and be very happy with it. Yeah, if like Munoz doesn't play, you've got Rodgers, you've got Wilson coming in off the bench. I'm really struggling to see what I could maybe suggest. Like, you've got Liverpool coverage. Like, I don't think you need to go and rip the team apart to go and get Salah in. You've already got Liverpool coverage. I think it's just one of those bad game weeks, wasn't it? Unfortunately, with obviously the Munoz issue. So, yeah, play Munoz. And if he doesn't play, you've got Rodgers, you've got Wilson, you've got plenty of good bench cover to, of course, come in for him. So, yeah, I probably would say roll. Yeah, that would be the advice I probably would go for there. What we're going to look at? Oh, yeah, we were going to look at the Jump the Wave predictions. Let's head over to Twitter. Of course, make sure you are following the Jump the Wave predictions. They are the best ones out of the lot, by the way. Where are we? Here we go. This is the post, and this is where I always come to. It's actually so helpful. It's genuinely so helpful. Right, so this is the Arsenal ones. So Raya, Timber only at 67% is a little bit concerning for people that have Timber this week. Gabriel at 100, Saliba at 100, Hincapié at 44, so could be quite a bit of rotation within that back line. Rice is actually at 100%, so that fills me with enough confidence there. Saka at 78, if you've still got him, obviously kicking about in your side as well. Any of the forwards as well, it does look like it could be complete rotation nightmare to kind of to pick any of those guys out. Let's head on to the next set. Villa, Rodgers. Where's Rodgers? 100% for anybody worried about him. Cash is at 88. I know he was flagged this week, but Emery gave pretty positive updates. Yeah, he's still in a lot of them. Only one of them he doesn't feature in there. Brighton, for anybody that's got any Brighton players, the centre-backs both on 86 is pretty wild. Who else have people got? I think that's probably about it. Matoma, I know, was flagged, but I don't think anybody really has him, to be honest. Chelsea, again, if you've got Sanchez this week, I know someone earlier asked me about Sanchez and said, would I sell him? Number one, I don't like selling goalkeepers. I do just think they are kind of one of those things where, yeah, it's kind of like such a low scoring position. I feel like if you've got Dubravka, he's got a fine fixture this week where he could come away with like all right-ish points, that I probably wouldn't do it. But as you can see here, Sanchez at 54%. The predictors really don't know who is going to be that goalkeeper for Chelsea. So yeah, there you go. Chalobah at 100% if you've got him. Enzo at 100%. João Pedro also at 100% as well. Which does bode well for people that are looking to, of course, bring in João Pedro this week. I was a little bit concerned maybe we might see an early substitution, but João Pedro at 100, so yeah, looking pretty tasty there. For Liverpool, Ekatike at 100 across the board. Wirtz at 68%. Gakpo at 53. I know a few people have looked at bringing in Wirtz in, only at 68%. Probably would be enough to maybe put me off potentially going for him. Salah at 95, all bar one prediction. Szoboszlai at 100, Gravenberch at 100, Konate and Van Dijk at 100 as well. Someone asking me about Frimpong, he is at 84%. Let's remember that when we get to the Man City ones as well and look at what Nico O'Reilly's at. So, it was Mateus Nunes, wasn't it? Mateus Nunes, 100%, so I probably would start him. As you can see, Ruben Gahey, 75%, Nuri's at 100. Like, it's literally all over the shop, isn't it? O'Reilly at 50%. The predictors are really struggling to get any sort of consistency here. Semenyo at 50% as well. That'd be great for people that don't have him. All bar one have selected Haaland as well in their prediction, so he very easily could start again, but, you know, that one predictor definitely could be correct as well. So, yeah, looks like a bit of rotation coming for the City assets there. And then finally, we've got United. Obviously, Bruno's at 100% and Buemo at 100% as well for people worried about him. Cunha at 94, Shaw at 100%, Delo at 94%. I think somebody asked me about Heaven, currently at 0% in the predicted lineups there. Newcastle, Gordon at 100% of the predicted lineups. Where's Malik Chow? I know another heavy owned player, 100% again. So they're pretty big ones out of those. Tottenham, I mean, it's looking like Danzo, Dragazin, Ped Porro, and Spence is probably the back line up there. Yeah, that fills me with confidence. Archie Gray's in there as well. Saw, Solanke. It's a pretty crap lineup, to be honest. Yeah, pretty crap lineup. So wouldn't fill me with confidence if I was a Spurs fan. Let's just put it that way. Let's have a look what we've had going off in the chat then, guys. See what we've got. Where do I find these predicted lineups? It is on Jump the Wave over on Twitter. Very, very good account to follow for these predicted lineups. That is where I would be going. Is Gabriel a better captain this week? I've spoke about Gabriel, and I do think he's actually a pretty decent captaincy option to go for, to be honest. Purely because it's one of those where, you know, they've got the best clean sheet numbers. If we go to the Rob T data, where is it? Here it is. So yeah, Arsenal at 50% for a probability of a clean sheet. Again, fills you with plenty of confidence. Everton, I believe, are second or third. Let's have a look. We're at Everton. Oh, cock. I've just scrolled away from that. Where's it gone? Yeah, anyway, I've lost it, but Everton are second or third for goals conceded from centre-backs. So, yeah, Gabriel could actually be a nice captaincy option. I think what a lot of people, though, will be looking at, and when I put it out on TikTok, a lot of people were calling me an idiot because they were like, well, do you not remember game week 26? Yeah, but you could say that about any week where Haaland's failed to score against, like, a Wolves, for example, or, you know, a Salah's blanked or whatever. These attacking players do blank. They do blank. So, yeah, it could be one of those. And obviously, Everton, 0.7 goal projections for this week. It is a low number. It could be a very, very nice week to maybe go on the Gabriel captain. I genuinely do think that. Best replacement for Gahey, maybe if you're on obviously the wildcard strategy, like a Bournemouth defender, decent percentages this week. Brentford have two nice fixtures, so maybe like a Van der Berg could be a pretty nice shout as well in terms of captaincy as well. Just looking at some of the numbers here. I'm surprised Brighton are as high with the clean sheet numbers as I thought, to be honest, they would be a little bit lower. Sunderland at home have been pretty decent, to be honest. I thought they, yeah, like I said, they probably would have been a little bit lower. If you're enjoying today's stream, make sure you are hitting that like button. We are closing in on 100 likes already, and it would be really appreciated if, of course, we could hit that marker as well. Morning, Tom. Would you play Enzo or Harry Wilson? Ooh, I personally probably would play... I think if I want no doubts, I probably would go with Enzo. So, yeah, that's probably where I would be with that one. Hi, Tom. Watching from my holiday. Very nice, Terry. Would you go Enzo F or Harry Wilson? I think we just answered that one. I probably would be tempted to go Enzo F. I've currently got Harry Wilson in my starting lineup, but I think I probably would maybe make that change to Enzo Fernandes. Let us know where you're on holiday, Terry. Hope you're having a good time as always. Bench 2, Dango, Wilson, Hill, and Buemo. Probably would be Wilson, and then maybe... That's a toughie. The next one, maybe Embuemo, but I think... Oh, that's a toughie. Yeah, that is a toughie. Maybe Embuemo. But yeah, I wouldn't really like to call that one, to be honest. Really struggling whether to play O'Reilly or sell to Van Dijk. I think with that 50% prediction, I would be very tempted to maybe sell him off this week. Yeah, I personally probably would be. Should I do Enzo or Rice to Salah? I'm likely just to bench Enzo in 32 before the free hit in 33. Then, yeah, maybe then. Maybe that is the play then. Obviously, do keep your questions coming in. Anything you want to ask me ahead of the deadline, do let me know. We've just hit 27.4k subscribers as well. So thank you very much. Abby said she sent her team in, so we'll go ahead and have a look at that in a second. Let's go and have a look. Little cottage by the river in Essex. Very nice, mate. Very nice. Hope you're enjoying it. Cool. Let's have a cheeky little gander at the Discord. What we had sent in. So we did that one. Here is Abby's team. She says, plan is to roll unless we get news Haaland is bench. In that case, I think I would do Haaland to JP, but I don't think I would bring Salah in as I like my midfield for the next 2 game weeks without. Fair enough, Abby. Fair enough. And you've gone for starting Rodgers because I've benched him. That is purely the reason. I know your exact reasons. I've benched Rodgers. You're going to play him. He'll definitely haul this week, won't he? He will. He did it earlier in the season. He got a 15-pointer. So, yeah, would not put it past him to do it again. Genuinely would not put it past him to do it again. Morning, Tom. I'm 101k and top of my mini leagues. I have Thiago Haaland up front. Good to hold. I have 3 free transfers, so I have 4 in game week 31. Depends what chip strategy you've got, and of course how many chips you've got left. But yeah, it seems like you're in a pretty nice position there, to be honest. Yeah, I do think you're in a very, very handy position there. Like I said, guys, if you could help me hit 100 likes on today's stream, it would be really appreciated. We're up to 88. So if everybody in the stream did give it a cheeky little like, we definitely could smash through that 100 barrier nice and easy. Looking at the captaincy poll as well, Bruno is currently leading with a 46% probability of a clean sheet. Haaland at 21, 24% on a Liverpool player, and 8% on other. If you are going for other, let me know who you are thinking about in the chat. Gets one Haaland, Pedro, or Ekitike this week. Which one would you choose? Oh, that's tough. I think given the state that Spurs are in, I definitely would be tempted to probably have Ekitike for this week. Which 3 do I start out of Virgil, Gab, Timber, and Hill, or start all 4 and put Anderson on the bench? I think with Timber maybe being a little bit of a doubt, I probably would maybe go Verge, Gab, Hill, and play Anderson. That's probably where I would go for. Hello, are you sure about playing Wilson? Because I'm playing Tavernier ahead of him. I would 100% play Tavernier ahead of Wilson this week anyway. I'm not 100% sure we're going to play Wilson at the moment. Again, we still might make some transfers. I'm going to have a go on the coin. The coin is going to decide what moves we are going to be making this week. Because like I said, we are maybe going with Mohamed Salah this week. What is my current chip strategy? My current chip strategy is to go with a wild card in 32, a free hit in 33, not a free hit in 33, a bench boost in 33, a free hit in 34. That is the plan that I've currently got, and that's probably where I'm going to go. Hi, Tom. Start Rodon or Anderson? I probably would go... I mean, Anderson's missed the last few games, hasn't he? That would be the only concern I would have, so I'd probably go with him and hope that he's back within the starting lineup. Shorter differential captain. I think there are plenty of amazing captaincy options this week, and I don't think you necessarily need to make some of those some of those moves that you suggest in there. So yeah, that's probably how I would see it. Semenyo or Dango. I mean, Semenyo at 50% is very concerning. However, his high effective ownership, I still probably would be playing him this week. Start Enzo or Rodgers. I personally would maybe look at Enzo. Did quite well in the Champions League midweek as well. Again, Morgan Rodgers trying to predict where those attacking returns are going to come from is really inconsistent. He did manage to hit a 15-pointer against United earlier in the season. However, he is frustrating, let's say that. Should I start Wilson or Szoboszlai? I personally would go with Szoboszlai this week. O'Reilly or Senesi? Senesi. High Tom, start Konate or Leclerc? Probably would go Konate. Start Enzo or Rodgers? I probably would go Enzo this week for me personally. That's probably the way that I would, I'd flip on that one. Jesus or Gibbs White could be a great captain. I'm not feeling it personally, mate. I'm not feeling either of those. I think if Gibbs White still had penalties, he could be a nice option, but I don't think you need to necessarily give them the armband. Like I said, like for the next few weeks, I personally don't see the reason to do it. McGinn is back. Villa should be better after the United game. Maybe we hold on to Rodgers then. Maybe the West Ham game could be the one where he goes off. Start Enzo or Wilson. I think if there's any doubt around Wilson, you're probably best just going with Enzo. So yeah, there we go. That's probably the strategy I would go for on that one. There is definitely that risk that he could be on the bench. 100%. They said they're going to assess how he's doing over the next few weeks. But yeah, there you go. Thoughts on using the wild card this game week and then using some free transfers for the double game week. But I think personally, if I've got my wild card, I would wait. I genuinely would just wait. That's personally the play I would probably go for on that one. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way that I would lean on that one. Could you advise my starting three? Virgil, Gahey, Hill, Maguire, Gabriel. Gabriel, Virgil, and probably Hill would be the three that I would go with there, mate. Yeah. Those would be the three players I personally would go for this week. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to ask me, do let me know. Of course, if you could drop a like on today's stream as well, it would be really appreciated. Captain Salah or Ekitike? I personally would probably go for Salah ahead of Ekitike this week for me. That's how I would see it. Hi Tom, hope you are good, mate. Start Gardner or Dango. I would go Dango. Bench Wilson or Van der Berg. I probably would take the gamble on Wilson. I mean, where's your source on that one? If you've got an okay source, we'll back it. But I think you're just chatting. And personally, I still wouldn't make any moves. I've got Dubravka. We're fine. Right, we're on Twitter. Let's have a look. Haven't seen anything here. Start Krupi, Anderson, or Rodgers. I mean, it could be a nice fixture for Krupi. But again, I'm always concerned about his minutes. That is the problem I would have with him. I think I would probably still pay him just because of the fixture that he's got. It is a very, very appetizing fixture. So he probably would still take it for me. Off to watch Scotland in the rugby in Dublin. Very nice. They could win the 6 or 7 nations, whatever, how many nations it is now. They could win that, right, this week. Yeah. Maybe even blocked. But yeah, if you type in, they're like Emma Jump the Wave or something. My rank is 8k and I'm lost. Who should I captain between Haaland, Ekitike, Bruno? I personally would probably look at Bruno. It seems like he's going to be the consensus kind of captain pick for people that aren't bringing in like a Salah or anything like that. Yeah, it seems like Bruno is probably going to be the guy there. So I probably would go with that one if that was my rank. Hi, Tom. I sold Haaland for Pedro, debating on Salah to Palmer. I think a lot of people are in that very same position, mate, aren't they? They are thinking about the move to Salah this game week. It could really work. It could go completely wrong, couldn't it? It really could. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm thinking about it. We'll have a little bit of a coin flip a little bit later as well. I don't know, mate. I don't deal with FPL Focal's timekeeping or when he's going on his lives. If you look at his channel, he'll tell you when he goes live. All right? You don't have to ask me. I think you could leave Rice for this week. I really do. I think the only reason I probably would maybe swap him out would be, of course, for potentially maybe a move for like a Tavernier or a Salah. That's probably the only thing I would maybe do for it. What about Tavernier captain? He does have penalties. You've got me there. He does have penalties, so he could be a nice option, couldn't he? He really could. Yeah, he could be nice. He could be a decent option. He could be a decent option, couldn't he? Rank 4-3-1, very nice. Captain Ekatike and go for it or play it safe and Bruno. Ekatike very easily could be one of those players that he does go big sometimes, right? He could go very, very big. I personally don't think I probably would, though. I think the other option, where was the other option you said? I think I probably would still go Bruno. I think he is just a very solid captain. Iriola also told me that Hill is on the bench after concerned about his toes. Oh, yeah. Sure, mate. Sure. You're defo legit. I believe you, mate. I believe you. Start Harry Wilson or McAllister. Spurs are quite vulnerable from centre mid, so could be a nice week for McAllister. I think we obviously spoke about Gravenberch. I think they're like 5th for goals conceded. Hey, look, I don't mind the Tavernier captain. I really don't. Like I said, penalty takers always have some say in the games. Yeah, Burnley are pretty poor. They are the whipping boys at the moment. So yeah, I am not a Brentford fan, by the way. I am not a Brentford fan. So I couldn't comment on that. Yeah, I'm not a Brentford fan, mate. Start Dango or Rice. I probably still would go Dango on that one. Flip a coin for Tavernier captain. Yeah, we can do that. We've had some more teams sent in for review as well, so we'll go and have a look at those in a second. Tails is no. Heads is yes, okay? Tails, no. No to the Tavernier captain. There you go. Could JP start? He definitely could. And washing machines do live longer with Calgon as well. That is true. Do you think Raul Jimenez will play? I mean, apparently his father passed away, right? Someone was telling me earlier in the chat his father passed away, so probably not if that is the situation. But I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything on socials about that. But if that is true, then yeah, that would maybe be potentially him not going for it. What about a captain on Semenyo? Personally, not for me. Again, doesn't have penalties. He doesn't do well on the bonus, does Semenyo, because he's always shooting, always tackling. So yeah, I personally probably wouldn't go for it. Yeah, I personally wouldn't go for it. Right, we've had some teams sent in. Let's head over to the Discord and take a gander at that. Where is it? Get into the groove. Seabez has said Rodgers or Wilson this week. Ooh, I personally would probably take the gamble on Wilson, mate. Yeah, I'd take the gamble on Wilson. That's how I would go for it. That's personally how I probably would line up. Watch it now be like a Wilson 1-pointer and a Rodgers 15-pointer. But yeah, I personally probably would go for it. Yeah, there we go. Someone says, I think Harry mentioned that Jimenez's dad died. Yeah, there we go then. Someone came in the chat earlier and said it, but I was like, not going to wholeheartedly back that. But yeah, maybe that makes Fulham a little bit worse this week as well. Is Saliba starting? I think he was at 100% on the Jump the Wave prediction, so I would say yes. What do you think about Thiago, captain, Rice, vice? Not sure on Haaland. I mean, a lot of people have shifted away from Wolves thinking, well, they're no longer the whipping boys, are they, right? That's kind of the consensus we've had over the past few weeks, isn't it? So maybe we're all a little bit wrong on that. Like, Wolves are still conceding in, decent amount of XG. They're still a side that I covered this in one of the videos this week. I was like, look, they could still concede a large amount of expected goals. They're still the leading side over the past 5 game weeks for expected goals conceded. So you do look at all that and you do go, well, there could definitely be a case for it. There really could be a case for it. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Yeah. And into the groove. Bottom of the league, all my risks haven't paid off so far. Sometimes you don't want to take too many risks. Sometimes the sensible play is just to keep on trucking and just keep doing your thing. And sometimes just sticking with the popular players. Like, I know they're popular and it sometimes can be a little bit unrewarding, but it's still probably the right play. Let's have a look what Tom's team is lining up. He is currently gone for Bruno, captain. TKTR. His team looks pretty decent for this week, doesn't it? Yeah, his team looks pretty good for this week. I wouldn't complain if that was my team. Yeah, I won't complain. Enzo, Timber out. Verts, Truffet in. Surely not worth it. No, I think with Verts only being at like an 80-odd% prediction in the Jump the Wave ones, I probably would swerve it. Yeah. Who should I bench for Anderson if any? Should Virgil, Senesi, Hill? I mean, if you've got one of Senesi or Hill, I probably would just play them and then play Anderson. Yeah. Who do I think is the best forward for 6.7 million? I mean, if you could just get away with benching him, probably could be the play. I don't really think there's any amazing forwards around that price bracket that springs off the dome instantly. Like DCL flagged, so probably wouldn't even bother looking at there. Yeah, I'm struggling to see a forward that I would really want for 6.7 million, to be honest. Maybe Igor Jesus, but that's about it, really. Jamie's in the chat. Hope you're doing good, mate. Hope you are doing good. Holland could still be an okay captaincy option. Look, it is West Ham. City have still got pretty decent projected goals. So, yeah, it could still be worth it. It could still be worth it. Yeah. Gibbs, Semenyo, Verts, who stays on the bench? That is tough because Semenyo and Verts aren't high on those jump the wave predictions. Gibbs White, I guarantee, will start and has been in pretty decent form. Oh, yeah, that is a toughie. That is a real toughie. I genuinely would not know what to say there, to be honest. Is there anybody else you could bench? Would be my genuine question. Hello, bench one of those, Munoz, Wilson, Alderente. I personally would bench one of Munoz or Wilson just because they're flagged. Start Wilson, Vanderberg, Rogers. I personally would maybe just start Wilson and hope for the best. Is Wilson 100%? No, they said he's going to be in contention to play, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Sleep in Saturday and FPL. Let's go, Tom. I mean, it wasn't a sleep in for me. It wasn't. I wish it was, but it wasn't. So, yeah. Tomorrow's the sleep-in day for me. Oh. Coin, please. Roll or Gui to João Pedro and bench boost. Okay. Heads is going to be the Gui and João Pedro bench boost. Tails is going to be the roll, okay? It's heads. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Baby, the João Pedro and bench boost move. All right, then. Do you think Semenyo will get a return? Because I don't know if I should start Dango, but Semenyo is the only player I would bench. Again, with those jump the way predictions being at 50%, that would be the concern I would have. That is the concern I would have about it. Vanderberg or Verge? Verge. Coin, please, for starting Gabriel or Krupi. I would personally just start Gabriel ahead of Krupi every single day of the week, but we'll do it. Heads is going to be Gabriel. Tails is going to be Croupy, okay? Tails, Croupy. Oh, my days. The coin's been a savage today. Double up on Hill and Senesi or Verge. I personally would probably split it. I would go one of Hill or Senesi and then play Verge. Bench Haaland and play Rodgers and then Buemo. I think if you're not going to sell him, I would still play Haaland. I don't think I would bench him unless we get, obviously, news that he's not going to be featuring for whatever reason. That is the only reason I probably would maybe bench him. Coin, please. Can't decide between Salah and Palmer. All right. Tails is going to be Salah. Heads is going to be Palmer, okay? Tails, Salah. Bench one of Rodgers or Enzo. I probably would go with Rodgers. Thoughts on a bench boost with Martinez, Rodgers, Ballard, and Hill? It's not a bad bench boost. The problem is, I think if you've got the wild card left, you can really set it up for that nice double in game week 33. So, yeah. No, we haven't done the coin flip for Haaland yet. We're going to build that one up if it's... yeah, we'll build that one up and do it a little bit later in the stream, but that is my plan, is to sell Haaland, João Pedro, Salah in for Rodgers. If the coin says yes, then we're probably going to go with it. If the coin says no, then we're probably going to hold and see if we get any maybe team news or anything like that. Start one of Wilson, Vanderberg, Rodgers. I would be tempted to go maybe with Vanderberg on that one. Yeah. What are the best two players for the next 2 game weeks? I do think Tavernier could very, very easily be a very exciting player. Wilson next week could be explosive against Burnley, who are so leaky to right wingers. That could be a big one. Just trying to think as well. Bruno could just be the steady Eddie. Like, it could be captaincy material for both the next 2 game weeks. So yeah, could be one of those. Captain in Virgil van Dijk, your thoughts? Personally think there's plenty of better options to consider this game week before even head into Bruno, to head into Virg as an option. That's probably how I would see it. Should I still bench boost Kelleher? I think with Wilson being a doubt, probably would give me enough to probably not use the bench boost this week. Yeah, that probably would be enough just to probably go no bench boost for me this week. Start Wilson or Enzo. I have VVD, O'Reilly, Gabriel, Wilson, Enzo. I personally probably would go Enzo. Yeah. Bench Wilson, Dango, and Buemo or Semenyo. I think with Wilson just being the doubt, you just bench him. I mean, bench one of Gibbs, White, Bruno, Wirtz, Tavernier, or Semenyo is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That bench is slammed with talent. I would want to play all 5 of those midfielders if I could. I genuinely would. I want to play all 5 of those midfielders. Surely, I need to see the rest of this team, because if that's the midfield 5, I genuinely want to play all 5 of them. Gibbs White is probably the one that I say goes at that point. But yeah, it's a toughie. It is a toughie. Hi, Tom. I'm starting Wilson or Dango, Alderente or Munoz. Currently have Munoz and Dango starting. I probably would just chuck Alderente in there. Sunderland at home are pretty decent. He's not bad for the defensive contributions as well. So, yeah, I probably would go with that one. That's how I would see it anyway. Bench Semenyo, I would probably say do it at your own risk. Yeah, if you want to bench Semenyo, do it at your own risk. He's very highly owned, but he is only up 50% of the predictions for starting this week. So yeah. There you go. Of course, if you want to get your team reviewed, head over to the FPL Cartel Discord. If you're enjoying the stream as well, make sure you're hitting that like button. It does push the stream out to, of course, more people, and that is exactly what we want to see on a Saturday morning. Plenty of people in the stream hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button. It does really help things out. Thank you for the super chat, man. I really do appreciate that. Hi, Tom. Who would you captain? Ek, JP, or Haaland? Oh, that is tough. I think with the other two not having penalties, I probably would still be more tempted to go with Haaland. I really, really would. Yeah, I probably would still be tempted to go with Haaland on that one, you know. I think the spicy pick there would be Ekatike. If you are looking to go a little bit differential and you've got like a little bit of a risk appetite, I think Ekatike could be like, he's very capable of hitting double-digit hauls. The problem is sometimes it's a little bit, yeah, one of those. I don't have Fernandes in my team, but Mbuemo. Okay, that's fine. I'd probably, yeah, if you're fancying a spicy pick, Ek. If you're feeling a little bit boring, go Haaland. Those are probably how I would sit on it. Yeah, that's how I would sit on it. Why is that song in my head today? Yeah. That's the song of today's stream, isn't it? Right, let's have a look at what potential moves we could be doing. This is the plan if the coin says so, basically. It would be Salah. I hate how it selects, just like it doesn't update. That would be the plan. Yeah. That would be the plan we would be looking at. Scary. I don't trust Haaland. Don't go for it then. Go for Ekatike then. But he's just as unreliable. He really is. Pickford in goal. Yep. Again, like there's on my model, it has like Pickford and Dubravka pretty much neck and neck. Looking at some other models as well. Again, it's very, very tight. I think, you know, I could hope for a 0-0 between Bournemouth and Brentford. Bournemouth and Burnley, sorry. I could hope for that. But at the same time, I'm thinking Pickford could make plenty of saves in that game, come away with potentially maybe like a nice 3 or 4 pointer, and that could very easily outscore Dubravka. It's honestly one of those. Maybe we'll do a coin flip for that as well. Because like I said, they're currently neck and neck on my model, and that is usually the thing I look at. I imagine Dubravka's got better clean sheet odds this week than Pickford. But again, it's one of those, isn't it? It is really just a coin flip, isn't it? All right, mate. 2 free transfers. What do you think about Munoz to Virgil van Dijk? Yeah, I like that. Can you use a bench boost for a double game week? Of course you can. Do you think Rodgers can come good with upcoming fixtures? I've also had him for a very, very long and frustrating time. I really have. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those, isn't it, where the West Ham game could be really big for him. Of course, against West Ham and United, he managed to hit 15 pointers earlier in the season. So yeah, he could do good. He could come good. Do you keep Haaland and DCL or swap them for Ekatike and João Pedro? I think that could be a very nice and fun move for the next few weeks. I do think it could be quite good. If I do Guehi to João Pedro and then my bench is Dubravka, Richards, Alderente, Rodgers, all three except Mod Rodgers at home. Yeah, it could be good. I think we did the coin flip for you, right, for bench boost or no bench boost. So, and it landed on bench boost. So yeah, oof. That was a dicey one, wasn't it? But yeah, these are the moves that I'm currently thinking about if I'm going to make any moves this week. Otherwise, we probably will roll through the week. It would be bringing in Salah. It would be bringing in João Pedro. That would be the action plan for this game week. Other than that, we would probably roll. We'd probably start Enzo ahead of Wilson. And yeah, like I said, we've got a decision to be made around the goalkeeper, Pickford or Dubravka for this game week, and we'll leave the coin down to that one to decide. Thoughts on Wirtz? I think he could be very good. Like Spurs are fifth, I want to say, for goals conceded to Cam, so it could be a good game for him. However, the jump the way predictions were a little bit inconsistent in terms of some of them had him, some of them didn't have him. So I personally probably would see that and see that as enough for me to go, I'm not going to get him. Yeah. My opinion is no, don't bench boost, right? My opinion is you've got a wild card left, save it, go like that. Sanchez could very easily start. Jorgensen had a stinker in the Champions League. He managed to get a lower FOTMOB rating than, of course, going with Kinski, who was subbed off after 17 minutes, which was wild, by the way. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment, isn't it? Yeah. Do you start Martinez or Dubravka this game week, mate? I personally would be tempted to maybe go with Martinez, but again, it could very easily just be a coin flip, that one. Would you do these moves you've shown here for a -4? I don't think I would do it for a -4. No, I don't think I would. Unless I was guaranteed, like, Haaland's going to be out. You know, that is probably the only reason I would do the -4. Other than that, I probably would just leave it, yeah. But yeah, these are the moves we are thinking about for this game week. Let's head back to my team then, and where is it? Let's just have a coin flip on Pickford or Dubravka. All right. Tails is going to be Pickford. Heads is going to be Dubravka. Okay. Tails. We're sticking with Pickford. There we go. The coin has decided. The coin has decided on that one. Krupi and Haaland or Ekitike and João Pedro. I probably would prefer Ekitike and João Pedro this week. I really would. I really would. I mean, you could very easily get away with a bench boost, mate, to be honest with that. It's absolutely ridiculous how stacked that team is. The only player I probably would be benching would probably be O'Reilly. And then I think the other player I probably would bench would either be Wirtz or Gibbs White. Those would be the ones I would go for. Coin flips transfer out Wilson and Raul to bench boost with different players. All right. Yes is going to be tails. Heads is going to be no, okay? Heads. Mate, we got an 8K finish last year, and most of the decisions were made by a coin. Like, you can go back and watch most of last season's streams. Any big decision that I was like a bit 50-50 on, I just flipped a coin. I went, the coin will decide it. We did it. And if you know the holy coin, you don't go against it. It is it's a big player in the FPL community. He's getting his own channel soon. Is the FPL coin. By the way, guys, we are extremely close to hitting 150 likes on today's stream. So if you, of course, are enjoying the content on the channel, it would be greatly appreciated if, of course, you could hit that like button. Of course, as well, if you are new to the channel, make sure you're hitting that that subscribe button as well. I'm just going to do what you do. No pressure. Oh, mate, don't come for me. Don't come for me. There's so much pressure if you're doing that. So much pressure. Yeah, I think sometimes that is like, if you're very unsure on a decision, like, again, you can look at all this stuff for weeks on end going, is this the right player? Is this the correct move? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Right. And at the end of the day, sometimes, like, you just need something to just go, yeah, or no? Because otherwise, you're just going to be umming and ahhing all the time. And I do think I spoke about this on Twitter and in the Discord group. I am doing quite well at other fantasy games this year. So UCL, we're doing all right. EFL, we're doing pretty decent. Rugby League, we're doing pretty decent as well, right? And all those games, I'm not thinking about it too much. Like, I'm just doing what either, like, say, a model's telling me to do, which is what rugby does. I built one. I've just gone, right, these players are doing quite well for points per game. In they come. I don't know anything about the sport, so that is fine. EFL, I'm just looking at, like, average points per game and building a team based off that. Again, I'm looking at little bits of the fixtures and betting data and stuff like that, but I'm not overthinking my decisions too much. I'm not going, oh, should I go for this player or that player? I'm just kind of going, I built it. Like, I think I did it yesterday on my lunch. It took me like 10 minutes to do. FPL all week, I think a lot of us are umming and ahhing around certain decisions, aren't we? And then we're taking influence from everybody else going, actually, that is a good move. And we need the approval of others in the FPL community to really make like a move seem correct. If you know what I mean? Like, if you don't make that move, you look like an idiot. That's kind of how I see the community at the moment. And that is kind of where the headspace is a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, we can get the holy coin to decide a Rogers or a Richards. So heads is going to be Rogers, tails is going to be Richards, okay? Tails, Richards. There you go. Haaland, Krupi and Haaland, or JP and Ekatike. I personally would prefer to have JP and Ekatike, I think. Yeah, I would. Those would be the ones that I would rather have, to be honest. Have you decided the transfers you are going to make? If I was going to make any transfers this week, I would probably go for Haaland out to João Pedro and Salah in for Rodgers. Those would be the moves that I would go for if I'm going to make any moves. I'm still undecided. Again, it might come down to maybe if we get some late team news. It could also come down to whatever the coin says. If I'm going to bring Salah in, I'm probably going to go full hog on it and go with him for captaincy as well. O'Reilly, Enzo, or Rayan. I need to bench two. Would appreciate your thoughts. I personally would probably go the first two. If Rayan does play on the right, that is Burnley's most vulnerable area for goals conceded. They're second in the league for goals conceded to right wingers. So Rayan could have an absolute field day in that game. He really, really could. Yeah, you have multiple ideas. You beat yourself. Like, genuinely, that is the thing, isn't it? I don't like. This is the thing. I don't mind the Tavernier captaincy bun. I really don't. I don't think it is the worst idea in the world because he has penalties. He has set pieces. Burnley are the worst side in the league right now. Yeah. Insert the Marcus Aurelius quote in here. Fully though, it fully is though, isn't it? Like, I feel like a lot of the time we spend all week worrying about certain decisions. Whereas I feel if you just pick the game up, make very late decisions, just get your team news, look at the betting data a little bit and go, all right, I'm going to make my decision there. I'm going to do that. But in like all the other games I play, like literally I said, like I just pick the game up. I don't think about it too much. And then we go from there. DCL for who? Who have you got around that price point that could be interesting? Maybe like a gamble on like a Croupy, but other than that, I think you are probably going to be struggling for Fleming, maybe. Like he's all right, he takes penalties. It's about it, isn't it, really? Money mate, Rogers to Sobo, own Ekatike and Verge. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Just brought Marmouche and activated his TC. What a crazy guy. Oof. Thoughts on Salah? He potentially could be coming in my team. He has been disappointing this season. There's no getting around that in there. So, yeah. Overthinking doesn't lead to good outcomes in any vector of life. Well done. Look at this philosophy we're getting from Jamie here. I love it. I do love it. I think that is the beauty of the coin, isn't it? Like you can do all that overthinking and then just go whatever the coin says. Solves it all, doesn't it? Who to start, Iwobi or Croupy? I still probably would be tempted to go with Iwobi on that one. Haaland to Ekatike, I don't mind it. Both players can have the capability to hit double-digit hauls. So yeah, Ekatike, though, can be very, very frustrating. But Liverpool are the top side for projected goals this week. Of course, as well, they've got a mountain of injuries. Looks like the manager potentially could be on his way out. I think if the players really hate him, they could down tools today, get battered, and he's gone. Because apparently, according to Ornstein, they already are looking for replacements. So that is something to potentially consider there, guys. Why not Palmer? A captain option feels like this week he smashes 4. I personally don't get that vibe from Palmer this week. Yeah, I don't feel it. But hey, if you've got a gut feeling, maybe he could be the one. Maybe he could be the one to go for. Tav or Iwobi or Rayan. I think Tav is the best out of the bunch there. Got penalties, got set piece share. Could be great. Rayan could also be a very explosive player this week. Like I said, Burnley's second 4 goals conceded. 2 right wingers. So yeah, it could be an exciting thing. The other thing that is going in my mind, and one of the first things I thought about Salah, was Spurs under this new formation have conceded double-digit hauls to right wingers in back-to-back game weeks, right? I need to look who they conceded to in the Champions League. I know Alvarez absolutely had a field day, and of course, the goalkeeper just gifted the players points. But if we see some right winger goal involvement, again, we could be even further tempted. Where are the Spurs? Let's have a look. Yeah, the wingers were actually quite quiet in that game. It was obviously Griezmann and Alvarez that dominated, but I mean, yeah, they really gave it. They really did it, didn't they? Did he? That's that. I think that is fair. If you like, I guess the problem I've got is I make the content, isn't it? And I feel like the overthinking, of course, happens on these streams as well, because I am just sat here constantly thinking about FPL. Like I can't switch off. I can't go and do something else. Whereas you guys, you can tune in, you can ask your question, who to bench, you can go about your day, can't you? Really? So yeah. Should I sell Rogers? I'm thinking about it for Salah. He could do very well over the next 2 though. West Ham is a pretty decent fixture in game week 31, as I've said for weeks. But yeah, he could do quite well. Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. Like Andy's doing so well this season. Maybe he might have a drop off. But you always see it, don't you? Where the creators that are doing well really do start to overthink things, especially as the season keeps progressing with these good ranks. Because, like I said, we've constantly got to think about the content. We've also then got to sit like for 2-3 hours on these streams talking about certain players, why we think this, why we think that. So we're always constantly like thinking about players and stuff. So maybe for us it is a little bit different, but I think for the average player, if you're not making content on it, can probably be quite easy. I don't know if Adley's going to start. I haven't seen any Bournemouth predicted lineups, but I know he was benched for the last game, right? Yeah, 100%. 100%. Maybe I need to get some kids. Maybe that sounded wrong, but that sounded so wrong. But yeah, maybe I'll get some children, then I'll have less time to worry about FPL. There we go. Yeah, the whole kind of scene at the moment isn't doing great, and I think again it's because a lot of us that have played very well for the past few years have played attacking, right? We like to pick the attacking players with the good fixtures coming up. But this season, I think a combination of defensive contributions making players just so consistent at scoring points, and also I think just the general way that the Premier League is playing at the moment as well is just slow. It doesn't work for attackers, right? There's not like a week where an attacker really, really goes off, or it's very, very rare, like João Pedro, that 19-pointer. Previous seasons, you could get that quite a lot, and you could very easily climb up the ranks because the attackers would do quite well. But this year, it's so hard to predict, man. It is really so hard to predict, and that's probably why a lot of the top content creators who usually do have amazing finishes are struggling a little bit. But we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, let's not clip that because yeah, we're done. We're done if that gets clipped. I would probably maybe go with Senesi this week. Yeah, I would probably go with Senesi this week. I just think Burnley are crap. They are a crap side, aren't they? They're not very good. So yeah, that's probably the route I would go with on that one. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you want to ask me ahead of the deadline, do let me know as always. Looking at the captaincy poll as well, Bruno's still a very, very popular captain for this game week. Haaland also creeping up, a Liverpool player at 23% and 9% on other as well. Why not play Dubravka? The reason we decided not to play Dubravka is I think, number one, before I even consumed any content, again, we're going back to this, I was going to play Pickford anyway. He is one of those he is one of those players that can just like bring those double-digit hauls against top sides as well. He had a pedigree of doing it over the past few seasons, and Everton, the way that they set up, they will concede a lot of shots for him to, of course, save. He's one of those goalkeepers that can pull off plenty of saves as well in a game. We also then did the coin to decide. It went with Pickford. Predicted points for the both of them are very, very similar as well. So, yeah, my gut instinct was always going to be Pickford anyway. So, yeah, that's it. Depending on doubles, I think the popular double combination on wildcard will be Verbergen, will be Dubravka, both potentially double in game week 33. That is probably the way that I think a lot of people will probably go with their goalkeepers for the remainder of the season. Rice to Iwobi for 2 game weeks or Tavernier. I would personally prefer to go for Tavernier. And Buemo to Tavernier for 3 with 3 FTs. I don't mind it. Again, it does feel quite luxury. But I don't hate it. Yeah, I think the goalkeeper decision will pretty much be made based off double game weeks and based off trip strategy. If you've got to play like a bench boost and stuff like that. Otherwise, I think, again, it's a position I wouldn't put too much thought into. I would probably look to bench either Mateus Nunes or maybe Rice probably would be the ones I would maybe look to bench there. Senesi or Saw, I've got a benching headache. I would personally play Saw on penalties, would not bench him. Bench 1, Wilson, O'Reilly, Rogers, or Alderente. I think with Wilson being flagged, probably he would be the one that I would bench there. Or O'Reilly, given the fact that he was only 50% on the jump the way predictions to start this week. So yeah. Captain Salah versus Ekatike, if you own both, I would go Salah. Penalties for me are one of the main reasons I always look for certain players. Again, it's just a broken thing that just always gives your captain an extra edge to every single game. So that is the way that I would always look to go on that one. All right. That is how I would see it personally for me anyway. Do. Start Hill or Richards. I probably would go with Hill. Yeah, I probably would go with Hill on that one. That's probably the way I would lean on it. Probably would still go Virgil ahead of Hill as well. Yeah. Yeah. My girlfriend flagged this last week when she was sat watching the streams. I do say Alderente's name wrong. So yeah, there we go. Alderete is his correct name, but now I just say it to wind people up. Yeah. Hill or Senesi, probably go Hill. Kelleher or Verbergen to start. Ooh. Probably Kelleher. Yeah, back the home fixture. I think they've got a slightly better clean sheet probability as well this week. I'd actually start Hill ahead of O'Reilly as well this week. Just with some uncertainty around O'Reilly's minutes, probably would be the one. Who would you play Saw over Wilson? Yeah, again, penalties would get in ahead of it. You think Anderson is starting? Yeah, Elliot Anderson should start. I'm not 100% sure about Joachim, though. Obviously, a few recent benchings, but maybe that was him just getting over his illness that he had. But he was in a second-string FA Cup side, so that is my only concern I do have there. I'm going with Sharda captain, ranked 2.4k. Trying to spice things up a little bit. All right, okay. Like the Jeremy Dorgu. Yeah, Jeremy Dorgu was another one where I kept saying it wrong, and then I was like, that's it. We're locked in now. We're just going to keep saying it every single video. Start Krupi or Wilson. I probably still would be tempted to go with Wilson on that one. Yeah, probably still would be tempted to go with Wilson. Any questions you guys do have, do get them in the chat. We'll try and answer as many as we possibly can. Of course, before we do finish up, we'll let the big boys go and do their thing in a little while, as always. When am I going to ask it the big one? I'll ask it towards the end of today's stream. The end of today's stream is where we'll ask the coin about Haaland or Salah. All right? That is where we'll ask it. The big question. Start Eze, Gokres, or Minter. I mean, the fact that you've got those three players. Come on, man. Probably Gyok. Yeah. Am I more likely to buy Salah or roll? I probably would say I'm in the camp of I would more likely to sell. More likely to buy it. Yeah. I'm not off back to bed after this. I'm off to the gym. Gonna do a little bit of shopping later. So yeah. Need to get some jeans. Because my jeans are crap. And we need to get some new ones. Off to Dave on Monday as well. So need to look fresh for David. And when he brings out AJ Tracy, especially fresh for that one. Rogers is definitely scoring, mate, isn't it? It's locked in. It's locked in. Golden's in the chat, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, go and check out his channel. Nah. Richards is ahead on like all predicted points. Every single predicted points has Richards ahead of Rogers. So, yeah. But we might be bringing in Salah anyway, mate. So it could all change. It could all change in the next few minutes. When are we going to do the coin flip time? Maybe like 11-ish. Yeah, let's do it at 11-ish. Rogers to Mbeumo, a good move. I have 2 free transfers. I know a lot of people are actually looking to sell off Mbeumo this week. So yeah, maybe that's one to consider. We'll do it at 11. We'll do it at 11. We'll do it at 11. I can dish your team. That is literally my job. If I want to dish someone's team, I can. Haaland to João Pedro. Yes, it is definitely in the contemplation pipe for me as well. So, yeah, I think it could work. Mins until then, about 50 minutes till 11 o'clock. All right. That is where we will decide. We'll do the big coin flip for if we're going to bring in Salah and if we're not going to bring in Salah. Okay. All comes down to a juicy coin flip. So yeah, there we go. As always, guys, if you do want to get your team reviewed, head over to the FPL Cartel. This, of course, is an exclusive Discord server between myself and Golden, who just popped in the chat then for a second. We've got my model, we've got team reviews, we've got the podcast, everything good in there that you want to obviously see, and a really vibrant community as well in there. We've got some absolutely cracking managers as well. So if you are a little bit stuck and, of course, are looking for more opinions, then that could be the place to, of course, pop in this week. Rice or Semenyo? I would personally probably prefer to start Semenyo, but I think with those 50% probability of him starting would maybe have me a little bit concerned. And I probably would maybe just safe it with Rice. Appointment to Anderson. The thing with Anderson is I would not be expecting what he did last week. He just is a very steady Eddie, though. Yeah, he just is a steady Eddie, and that's about it. Someone asked me about Bournemouth. Let's have a look what thing he's got in here. He's got Rayan, Tavernier, Krupi. So no Adley, I think someone was asking me about earlier in the FPL Meerkat ones. Shall I captain Sobersley? No. Please don't spam as well in the chat, or you will be booted. Captain Fernandes or Ekatike? I would personally go for Fernandes on that one. Right, you've been spamming. Get out of here. Out you go. Please don't spam, guys. Like, I will try and answer as many questions as we can before, obviously, we do wrap up today. You don't have to spam. Obviously, if I go past it and I miss it, do put it back in. Obviously, the chat can move quite quick sometimes, but don't just constantly just click go in and spam it in. Don't do that. Bench one, Senesi, Wilson, Frimpong. Currently, Senesi is on my bench. Oh, yeah, I probably would go the same. That is tight. That is tight. I'd be more tempted with maybe Wilson on the bench, but yeah. Play Rice or Senesi. I probably would play Senesi ahead of Rice this week. I probably would. Yeah, that's probably the way I would go on that one. Where did I go wrong? I lost a friend. We'll see how lucky the Holy Coin is. Bench boosting with Raul and Wilson on my bench. Can't bench boost any other week, really. Of course you can. You can bench any other week. I personally probably wouldn't bench boost with that. But if the coin said so, the coin said so, I guess. The coin knows all, doesn't it? The coin does know all. Yeah, looks a good team for the draft. Start Rodgers or Anderson. Also, should I sell Haaland for João Pedro so I can upgrade Rodgers to Florian Wirtz? I'm not 100% sure Florian Wirtz plays, and a good account I use for Liverpool predictions hasn't got Wirtz in the lineup. So that would be a little bit concerning to me, personally, if I was going to buy Wirtz. Rayan, Wilson, Dango, bench one. I think you just bench the flag player, don't you, really, there? I think you play Rayan and Dango, yeah. Dango or Wilson to start, and would you do Haaland and Mbeumo to Pedro and Salah? I am thinking about the exact same moves myself, mate. The exact same moves. I do think they are very good moves, and if you put it into, like, any sort of... what's it called? Any sort of model or anything like that, it will tell you to do that. But that is predominantly because, predominantly because obviously Salah's points per game in like the past 6-7 seasons has been ridiculously good. Semenyo, Bruno, Wilson, Sobo, Tavernier, bench one. Maybe again it's going to be Wilson. Coin, Rice or Tav? I would personally go Tav, but let's see what the coin has to say. Tails is going to be Tav. Heads is going to be Rice, okay? Tails for Tav. There you go. If I buy Salah, I probably will give him the armband. Yeah. Rodgers out for Szoboszlai in. I don't mind that. He could do quite well, and if he is playing in the 10, that is an area where, of course, they are very, very vulnerable as well. Could be benched. Very easily could be benched. That is also a very good point. I think people are just buying Salah so their team doesn't look cheap. That is also very true. I maybe could just be tempted to go Tavernier, you know. Maybe we just go Tavernier and that is genuinely another option. We could just go Tavernier and João Pedro. Who knows? Who knows? Here we go. The overthinking has begun already. But yeah, maybe that could be the play. We just go Tavernier and João Pedro. No, don't bench him. Why would you bench him? No. Wilson to Palmer, not feeling it. Ekitike or Thiago. I think obviously given the Spurs injury situation, probably would be tempted to go with Ekitike. You could go straight Anderson to Tav. I don't want to get rid of Elliot Anderson. I love Elliot Anderson. I think he's great. Ekitike or Sobo, probably more Ekitike. I personally would go Rayan, given the fact that Burnley have conceded the second most goal involvements to right wingers in the Premier League. That would give me enough ammunition to personally look at him as the option. Start one of Anderson, Chalobah, DCL. Probably would be tempted with either Chalobah or Anderson there, given DCL is flagged. Haaland, Ekitike, and Thiago. Do I sub one for Pedro? If you are probably going to do that, it would be Haaland. Otherwise, you're probably just going to roll with that as the front three. You like Kroupy start? I think Kroupy will start, yes. But the problem is he always comes off quite early. Maybe Rodgers to Tav and keep Haaland. Could also be a move that I maybe do make this week. Yeah, could also be a move that I do make this week. It doesn't just work like that, because then you've got to factor in if you are then not starting Bruno, you're then at 124% effective. Like, he will be very, very high on the effective ownership, will Bruno, this week. You probably then will be looking at taking on a player at like 150% ownership. If he breathes, say goodnight to your rank. At least if you're playing, you're probably taking on like 24, 25, maybe about 40 if everybody really does go for him. Yeah. Wilson, Gibbs, White, I think both are pretty decent options for this game week. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that if you wanted to. I don't hate that. I don't hate that hold. Would you play KDH or Rodgers? I probably would give Rodgers the nod there ahead of KDH. Wirtz or Sobo? I personally probably would go with Sobo. Start Rayan or Sharda? I probably want to have both playing, right? Start Haaland or Tav? I probably still would go with Haaland. Unless we get news. Shall I captain Ekitike? I don't mind if you want to captain Ekitike. Look, he can very easily hit those double-digit hauls, but he doesn't have penalties. That is the only concern I do have around him. Is Wilson still injured? He's in contention for a start. That is the update we got from Marco Silva today. He's in contention to start. Wilson to Bruno. Don't hate it if you're going to give Bruno the armband as well. Could be a pretty steady play to go for. Yeah, it's not a bad option. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. Anything you do want to ask me ahead of the deadline, do let me know. If I copy you, I'm taking out Haaland and he ends up scoring 5 goals in the next 3. We'll send you... Hey, mate, we've just got to hope for the best, haven't we? We've just got to hope for the best and hope that he really doesn't go off or is benched or whatever. Of course, guys, do keep your questions coming in. Anything you want to ask me ahead of the deadline, I am, of course, here to answer any of your questions, as always. Any news on Verts? We've had no news on Verts, but like I said, a lot of the predictions and a lot of the good predictors as well for Liverpool lineups don't have Verts in. So that would be probably enough to put me off going near him. Captain Thiago, Bruno, or Haaland? Wolves still concede a lot. They do, and they are still one of the leading sides for expected goals conceded over the past 5 game weeks. I personally would still be tempted to look at Bruno ahead of Captain and Thiago. I think Thiago will still be a fine option. I don't think you really need to go for it. So, yeah. Is it a good idea to sell Haaland to João Pedro until game week 32 and buy him back on the wild card? It's a plan I am thinking about myself. So, yeah, I don't mind it if you want to go for it. Is benching Haaland really absurd? Yeah, I think it probably is, unless we get team news that he's going to be out. Lewis Miley for Tavernier. I like that as a move. Yes, I would rather have that. Start Wirtz or Evan Nielsen. I'd rather start Evan Nielsen. Haaland hold or Ekitike buying game week 30. I think if that is your route into the Liverpool attack, because the next 2 fixtures are pretty decent for it, then yeah, I probably would be tempted to do it. If we were to roll, let me put my team out if we were to roll for this game week. I think realistically, this is, I probably would gamble on it, you know. I probably would have it like that. That is probably realistically what we would go with if we were going to roll this week. Maybe I'd be tempted to play Enzo ahead of Richards potentially. That would probably be a call we'd maybe make. But other than that's probably how we would line up for this week, I think. Maybe Wilson goes on the bench just because he's a doubt. And we just put Enzo in. Start Konate or Anderson. I would probably go with Konate. Oh, 100%. 100%, Connor. I'm ready for it, mate. I'm ready for it. I've had this fraud for weeks, just sat there getting 1-pointers. And I know if I play him, he's going to get a 1-pointer. And I know if I bench him, he'll get a 15-pointer. It's the way it's just going to go. It is just the way it's going to go, isn't it? Leeds, by the way, have a god-awful record in London, by the way. Go and look it up for yourself. They never win in London. Never, ever win in London. But yeah, they never win in London. There is a chance, but I've seen him in quite a few predicted lineups for this week. But I know he's been off the boil a little bit, hasn't he? Yeah, I personally probably would start Wilson ahead of Wirtz. I think I probably would, just because, again, I'm a little bit unsure about Wirtz's minutes this week. I'd still go with the gamble on Wilson ahead of Dewsbury Hall as well. But yeah, Leeds have a really, really poor record in London. I live and work in Leeds, so obviously speak to a lot of Leeds fans who go home and away, and they're like, anytime there's a game in London, they're like, it's a pain in the arse to get there. It costs a lot, and we always lose. So yeah, that's why we're going with Richards on that one. Start Alderente or Senesi, please. I would personally go with Senesi. Start Dango or Wilson. Dango, Haaland and DCL for Ekitike and João Pedro. I do like those moves, so I probably would do them, yes. I think you could just roll through that, mate. I really do, yeah. João Pedro captain might be risky. Probably is a little bit risky. Top 3 Liverpool assets. I think for security in minutes, Verge and Szoboszlai are the best at that. Ekitike has that explosive ability in him. Frimpong could be a nice differential. But then, of course, you've got Mohamed Salah, who is the penalty taker, is one of their top players for years and years and years in end. So, of course, every single model will love him and rave about him forever. But yeah, it's kind of one of those, isn't it? Captain Thiago, Ekitike, or João Pedro. I would probably either give it to Ekitike or Thiago there for me. Those would be the 2 that I would personally go for. Thiago, just because penalties and it is a broken metric. Wolves as well, despite their upturn in form, have still been a side that are pretty poor and have conceded still lots of big opportunities to expected goals conceded.
And yeah, Ekatike, because he's got that explosive ability, and Spurs have no fit centre backs. So yeah, there you go. Minter is a differential with Matoma injured. Not really. No. Start Wilson or Haaland. I would personally go with Haaland. I am starting Pickford over Dubravka. Both very similar in terms of predicted points for this week. And I did a coin flip and it came out with Pickford. So there you go. Transfer and Buemo out for Bruno. I think if you're going to captain Bruno, then that makes the most sense, doesn't it, really? Yeah, if I was going to captain Bruno, then yeah, that's probably the move I would do. Saar and Richards to VVD and Tav. I mean, it's not a bad fixture for both Saar and Richards this week. They could be players that do quite well. I do like the moves you have suggested, but it does feel very, very luxury because, like I said, both those players have a nice fixture this week. I know they don't have a game next week, so maybe it does get you in the prime position for that. But yeah, it does feel quite luxury. Salah in for Bruno and captain him. Wow, okay. Thiago captain. I know my dad is going for Thiago captain this week. And again, like I said, they are still a side that have conceded plenty of goal involvements to strikers this year. They are still a side that are one of the bottom sides for expected goals conceded. So, yeah, I mean, it could work. But personally, for me, I think there are better options to maybe go for this week. If I was going to go for anybody there, probably would be... I mean, Palmer just because of the penalties, but I'll be a little bit concerned about his minutes, so I probably would go with João Pedro. Sesko, I've seen, is at like 61% on the jump the way predictions to start this week, so that probably would be, again, enough for me probably not to back it as an option. Yeah, probably would be enough not to go there. Lewis Miley for Anderson and Enzo for Tavernier. I like those moves. I can get on board with both those moves. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. Strand Larson captain. No. Strand Larson. Whoa. Strand Larson. Whoa. If you're Newcastle, you won't buy him. Why am I not starting Dubravka? Pickford can very easily hit big scores against top six sides and has done quite a lot over the past few seasons. He's also very consistent at what he does in terms of saves every single week. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at some examples. See if he's done anything this season. Like United away a 10-pointer. Most people probably would have swapped him out for fixtures like that. Not really had it, but again, like in previous seasons, I remember the Anfield derby, a lot of people benched him. He managed to pick up a double-digit haul. He does make plenty of saves. And like I said, Burnley are just a bit crap. Having seen Burnley, they are the whipping boys in the league at the moment. When was the last time Dubravka scored a double? A double he got in 18. He's had one double-digit haul this season, right? And the last time he scored above 5 points was back in game week 18. Like he just doesn't score enough points for me. Oh, 100%. Now I've said all this, Dubravka's definitely getting a 10-pointer sat on the bench, but that, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Leaning towards keeping Saar and Richards, then use the free FT to deal with the 6 players out for game week 31. Cool. Like I said, Saar is a penalty taker. Leeds have a terrible record in London as well, so could be a nice day for the Eagles. I'd definitely play Kelleher ahead of Dubravka. Bench 2, Tavernier, Senesi, O'Reilly, Wilson. I think it probably would be the last two, O'Reilly and Wilson. Yeah, I mean, if you've got this is the thing. I wouldn't waste a transfer if I've got an injured goalkeeper. I'd just wheel Dubravka out. Like, goalkeepers are the most useless position in the game. Like, they don't score many points. Trying to predict where goalkeeper hauls are going to come from, you better probably chance of picking the lottery numbers. Because, like I said, I've seen Jordan Pickford hit a double-digit haul away at Anfield before. Like, it sometimes is mental. It genuinely is sometimes mental. Iwobi or Wilson, who to put in the team? I mean, if you've got both, I mean, Iwobi is definitely going to play. I can't guarantee the same for Wilson. Swap Thiago for Pedro. I would personally keep Thiago. I think he's a fine option for this week anyway. I wouldn't be taking a player out. Like I said, Wolves are still the leading side for expected goals conceded over the past 5 game weeks. I personally wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't look at it. They're still a pretty bad side and definitely one worth targeting still. I know in recent weeks their results have improved, but they are still giving up plenty of opportunities. Bench boost, Wilson, Hill, Verbergen, Gahey. It's not a bad one, but of course, if Gahey misses out and Wilson misses out, then that bench boost completely falls on its arse. And I think if you've still got the free hit and wild card and bench boost, that is probably better used over the next few weeks. I had a Henderson 16.0. Exactly. Like, some of the trying to predict where goalkeepers get their big hauls from is, yeah, it's so pointless. Because this could be genuinely a week where either Dubravka does great and comes away with a mega double-digit haul, or Pickford surprises everybody. Maybe he saves a penalty against Arsenal. Maybe he keeps it clean as well. And Arsenal aren't one of these sides that go and blow teams away. Like, they don't blow teams away every single week, do they? So, yeah. Who should I start, Thiago or Anderson? I would go with Thiago. Never bench a penalty taker. Play Enzo or Rodgers? I'd play Enzo. Calvert-Lewin, a lot of people asking me about. I haven't seen anything on Calvert-Lewin in terms of news. Let me have a cheeky gander for you and see what we're working with for Calvert-Lewin. But yeah, I haven't seen anything. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a more minor concern, with Daniel Farker optimistic his striker will recover. So yeah, make of that what you will. He's optimistic that his striker will return. What's better, Krupi and Salah or Ekitike and Rodgers? Probably say Ekitike and Rodgers, isn't it? Tavernier, Embuemo, Tavernier, Szoboszlai, bench 1. Anybody else you can bench? I'd want to be starting all of those guys. That is a toughie. I genuinely think it would be Embuemo, but I wouldn't want to say that with confidence. Yeah, I wouldn't want to firm that really. Haaland and Mane or João Pedro and Ekitike. I mean, when you put it like that, João Pedro and Ekitike. Who shall I start, Timber or Anderson? I'd go Anderson with some doubts around Timber starting today. Gahey or Hill or Timber next to Gabriel and Van Dijk. I would personally probably look at Gahey and Hill again, just if Timber is going to be benched. I probably would look at some other options there. DQ questions coming in, guys. Anything you do want to let me know ahead of the deadline? Any plans you've got? Let me know. Any benching dilemmas as well? Do get them in the chat. We'll try and answer as many as we possibly can. Probably would go Hill this week. Yeah, probably would go Hill. Just move my mic back and sit up a little bit. Oh, knees. More. Oh, jeez. That Anfield website can do, but the best guy to look at is either Jump the Wave or what's his name? Szoboszlai something on Twitter. Like they're the two sources I use for Liverpool predicted lineups. That's very easily could do, but yeah, those would be the ones I would be looking to do. Planning to sell Haaland for Salah. It is a plan. It is something we have thought about. We will be doing a coin flip at 11 o'clock to decide whether or not that is going to be the moves we are going to make this week. I don't know why you would do Rodgers to Semenyo when Semenyo blanks next week. There's also, again, in the 50% of the jump the wave predictions didn't have him in, so I would be a little bit concerned about him this week. I'd still play him, but I would be a little bit concerned about it. Reliable minutes, probably either going to be Gahey or Mateus Nunes. Those would probably be the two that I would look at. Salah in for Bruno, and Cap chasing mini league leader by 100 points. Fair. A goalkeeper in place of Roos. Depends what strategy you've got for the next few weeks. Like, if it is to wildcard, I would personally, if you've got Dubravka, just wheel him out for 2 weeks. I genuinely think it's just not worth a transfer. Transfers are going to be so precious over the next few weeks that I wouldn't waste them on goalkeepers. I really wouldn't. Start Wilson, Fortin Buemo, or Sesko? Probably not. Probably stays on the bench, doesn't he, realistically there? Give it up to me. Baby, come back. Cap, Salah, or Ekitike, or Bruno. I think, obviously, looking at the poll, Bruno is probably going to be the biggest owned captain, I reckon, this week. Maybe behind just because of the casuals, Haaland. But most engaged managers, it will be Bruno Fernandes. Or then probably we'll be looking at, Salah, Ekitike. It could be quite spread this week, to be fair, honestly. It really could. Pedro or Mbuemo? Probably play João Pedro ahead of Mbuemo this week. Yeah, I probably would do that. See, just something different about you. Bang, bang, bang. Rodgers to Mbuemo. I don't hate it, but at the same time, you could just keep Rodgers for the next 2 weeks. Like, the fixtures aren't terrible. Sub Gibbs, White, or Anderson. Need a new mid for 7.4 million, not Rice. Tavernier probably is my go-to pick at the moment. Are you going to go back to your old look? What do you mean, my old look? Scruffy beard and fat face and not have a mullet? No. Bench one out of Hill, Enzo, Wilson, and Timber. Probably going to be Timber. What order should I put my bench? Timber, Tav, Wilson, 1, 2, 3. Why is Tav on the bench, man? Oh, no, not Tav on the bench. Tav's number 1, Wilson number 2, Timber number 3. But yeah, get Tav in that starting lineup now. Start 2, Krupi, Wilson, or Enzo. Enzo and probably Krupi. I have 5 FTs, 2 best transfers to target this game week. I've been singing his praises for a large part of the stream. It is going to be Tavernier. I think any of the Liverpool boys, Ekitike, Verge, Sobo, Salah could also be worth a little bit of a cheeky gamble as well. Anybody else really kind of stand out? João Pedro just given his form. Any Brentford players as well? It's still a pretty decent fixture this week, so I don't mind that. So yeah, they're probably the ones I would be looking at. Yeah, surely he probably should get a 4-pointer there, mate. Yeah, he probably should. Semenyo or Mbuemo? I probably would go Semenyo this week. Yeah, I probably would play Semenyo this week. Why am I so convinced Timber doesn't start? A few comments from journalists about him being dead on his feet. And the jump the wave predictions, I think he was in like 50% of them. So that would be the concern I would have around that one. YouTube recommended me your Women's Euros fantasy vid from 8 months ago. Jesus, 8 months already. Oof. Start Ayer or Richards? Probably go Ayer on that one. Yeah. What's a good wildcard team? It's so hard to call a wildcard team this week because, like I said, we need to realistically see how the doubles and European football pans out. So trying to build a wildcard team is quite difficult. I would be probably trying to spread myself across, obviously, the double game weekers. So I think you'd still have your Gabriels. You'd still probably have a route to Haaland, whether that be in the team or, of course, around there. I think, obviously, again, it would just be trying to target the double game weeks in 33 if you're planning on wildcarding now, but trying to do that can be a little bit difficult. I think goalkeepers probably would be Verbergen, Dubravka, because both of those could double. I'd look at some Liverpool players. I'd look at some City players. Arsenal would be in there as well, given the fact that they've got a strong probability of progressing. Chelsea players as well would also be in there. So a João Pedro, maybe a Palmer, maybe an Enzo Fernandes. Those would be the guys I probably would be looking at as well. Yeah, I think if the news is true about Raul Jimenez, then yeah, he's probably not going to be playing this week. That's how I probably would sit on that one. Hello, Tom. Pick 3 from Semenyo, Rice, Hill, Timber, Soberslai, Wilson. Semenyo, Sobo, and either Hill or Rice would probably be the 3 I would pick there. Who shall I captain? Soberslai, Ekatike, Tavernier, or Thiago? I would be tempted with either the last 3 there would probably be the 3 names I would go for. Ekatike, very capable of hitting those double-digit hauls. Tavernier on penalties up against Burnley, great fixture. Thiago on penalties, obviously up against Wolves, who still, I know the results have been better in recent weeks, but still been a side that have conceded plenty of expected goals conceded over that period as well. Do keep your likes coming in, guys. We are approaching 200 on today's stream, and it would be great if, of course, we could smash that goal. So do get your questions in. Do hit the like button. Yeah, I just think though maybe he doesn't. Like again, a lot of those predictions, they do know stuff, don't they? They do know. I don't mind Gibbs White, but I very easily could see Anderson just outscoring him over the next 2 because he's just so consistent. Like I said, DEFCON is just one of those metrics that I think a lot of us have undervalued and are still undervaluing in terms of players just picking up points every single week. Captain Haaland or Bruno? I probably would go Bruno if you're unsure about Haaland's minutes. Like, it's just going to be 90 minutes, isn't it, for Bruno Fernandes? Start Hill or Timber? I would give the nod to Hill ahead of Timber this week. Weird having 2 5:30 games this week. Yeah, a bit weird having 2 5:30 games, but hey ho, is what it is. I mean, if João Pedro goes off again this week, I am going to be watching from behind the biggest pillow ever. Like my Saturday evening could be ruined by about 10 o'clock. It realistically could, couldn't it? Haaland goes big. Obviously, yeah, if Haaland goes big, we're mudded. Of course, if João Pedro goes big, could be mudded. Yeah, could be one of those. Could be one of those weeks. I personally would probably go Donnarumma ahead of Dubravka this week. João Pedro could be all right, but yeah, I'm not feeling it. Save bench boost or use it this week. I think if you've got the wild card left, you can just set it up, save it. Chalobah or Richards, or sell one of them to Frimpong. Probably would go just play Richards. Again, feels quite a luxury move, and I think both of those players could do fine this week. Down. I would have a little bit of concern around Wirtz, but other than that, I think it is a pretty strong midfield. The only problem is Brentford and Fulham don't double if you are on the wild card, so you would be looking to take them out in 33, would be my concern. Yeah, that would be the concern I would have around that one. Right, we've got 15 minutes till 11 o'clock, and obviously that is where we will do the big coin flip for this game week and decide what we are going to do with our side, I guess. Do I make enough from these streams for what? No. No, I don't. Donate more. We need more money. Your Baby Come Back remix made my girlfriend laugh. Well, there we go then. That's all I'm here for. I just do some sing songs and I give you FPL advice. But yeah, it is a tune, that one. Baby come back. Why? I'm getting an ad every 3 to 5 minutes, bro. I've set my ads to low. Yeah, I've set them to low, but I've noticed just like YouTube is just spamming more ads, but all my settings are like to like low on streams. So you shouldn't get them that often. But yeah, apologies if you are. Like I have set the settings to low, so you shouldn't be getting spammed with the adverts on the stream because it is annoying. I don't mind McAllister, but his underlying numbers aren't great. Defcon's not really there. So probably not. But watch him score now. I've said all this. This is what usually happens, isn't it? This is exactly what usually happens. Would you consider Gibbs White? I don't mind Gibbs White, and he was one of the players I did speak about this week in some videos. Obviously, been doing quite well over the past few weeks. However, I do just think Anderson will outscore him with just his steady consistentness over the past next 2 weeks. No, we're not asking the coin now. The coin's waiting. He's waiting till 11. Yeah, we stream every game week. Should I roll this week? I mean, I don't know what your team looks like, but it could be a good week to do it. Yeah, sometimes mine does that where it just constantly gives me adverts. But yeah, I've got the settings on quite low. So yeah, hopefully it hasn't adjusted them. I'll go and check after this stream. But yeah, I've set all my settings there. So you shouldn't get adverts often, but who knows? Start Wilson or Raul. I'd probably go with Wilson. Looks like Raul's father unfortunately passed away, so probably not going to be playing tomorrow. I haven't used my wild card, and we will be using it in game week 32. Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to use it in game week 32. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what we get in terms of the press conferences, but I know a lot of people are relying on them to be fit and available. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Start Wilson or Anderson. Probably just gamble on the Wilson one. Munoz and Enzo to VVD and Gakpo, or Raul and Enzo to Ek. I prefer the second one. Yeah, I prefer the second one. They're going to assess Munoz before, of course, letting him play tomorrow. So, again, make of that what you will. But yeah, they are going to assess him. Again, like I said, make of that what you will if you want to this week. Dude. We're here. Baby, come back. I'll give you all you need. I'm a strong, but I just can't live without you. When are we stopping the stream? Probably like 1:15, maybe. Yeah, probably around 1:15. Head to the gym. Like I said, got some shopping to do a little bit later today. Film a video later tonight. Who to bench out of Watkins, Munoz, and Wilson? Probably Munoz, given the fact that he is a little bit of a doubt heading into this week. Yeah, there will be a video out for the wildcard draft in game week 32 when we do, of course, get to that week. Realistically, I would try and take as many through as possible, just in case there are any, crazy decisions that they make in terms of scheduling and obviously FA Cup results and stuff like that to get yourself into the best position if there are any future doubles or blanks further down the line as well. Rodgers or Enzo to start, I would probably prefer to go for Enzo. Wilson or Enzo. I mean, if you've got a doubt around Wilson's fitness, then probably chuck Enzo in. We were up to 200 likes, so thank you very much, guys, for your continued support on today's stream. It has been really appreciated, as always. It's been another good one. Has been another good one. Tell you what, though, I am a little bit famished today. Got some overnight oats after this, and they will be scrumdiddly-umptious. I'd take a Baby Come Back remix over the ads any other day. Rogers, Wilson, or Anderson and Wilson? Anderson and Wilson. It's a clever strategy, mate. It is a clever strategy. That's the big question of today's stream. What are people's like go-to Greg's orders? Let me know in the chat. What are you walking into Greg's for, and what are you going, right, this is what I'm going for today. I'm going for like the pizza slice, or I'm going the steak bake. Don't look at me like that. What are you going for over there? Quiet. Not saying. No, steak bake. Cheese and onion bake. Sausage roll. Pizza. Pasty. Wedges. What are you going for? You want to type it to me? Okay. Have I ever been to the Maldives? I've never been to the Maldives, no. Good luck, mate. Good luck. Thiago captain. I don't hate the idea, but it's one of those, isn't it? Any tips for when use my chips? Because I haven't used any. Right, cool. I personally would go looking at like a wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34 at the moment. But of course, we might see how things pan out with the FA Cup and those stuff. But we're going to find out all that information before game week 32 so we can make plenty of decisions. Pizza slice and a chicken bake. Vegan sausage roll, big up. They are cracking. Sausage roll, obviously. Has to be a sausage, bean, and cheese bake. I'm not a big fan of the bean bakes. Not a fan of the bean bakes. I used to like, when my nan used to take me, they used to have like these lemon drizzle cakes, right? So good. They had like little bits of lemon at the top, like the little like sugary lemon bits. So good. Sausage roll plus steak bake plus something sweet varies. I used to like the jammy biscuits as well. They used to be nice. We used to go with my my dad, before we went to like Mansfield games, we used to go to like Greg's for like our like lunch and stuff, and it was great. They used to do like these little wrap like baguettes and stuff. Oh, they were so good with like the chicken in. Who do I support in the Prem? I obviously don't support anyone in the Premier League. I'm a Mansfield Town fan. That is my side. But if I was to support somebody in the Premier League, probably would be Brentford. But like, I don't care if they win or lose. But it's kind of one of those, isn't it? Yeah. How would you rank Salah, Ekatike, Bruno as captain? I'm 900k chasing rank at a 20 point. I think, like, look, if you chase him rank, don't do anything like too daft, because you can still very easily make that up over double game weeks, right? I still think Bruno is probably one of the leading candidates for captaincy this week, okay? He definitely is. Salah and Ekatike are the more spicy variant, but if you are looking just for a steady guy who will probably do quite well this week, I think Bruno Fernandes could be a man. If you're looking to probably, you know, take that little bit of a risk, then of course, looking at a, you know, Salah, Ekatike probably would be the player I would go for. Ekatike or Nicholas Jackson? Obviously, Nicholas Jackson. Come on now. What a baller. What a baller, eh? Start Dango or Rice? Probably would go with... I actually think Rice could do quite well this week. Haaland to Salah necessary. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but it is something we have thought about. We could just very easily roll, get through it. I don't think Raul Jimenez will probably start because of that. I think he'll probably not be, he'll not be at the game. Bruno, again, because Manchester United have no European football, a lot of the other candidates could potentially be rotated. Like, for example, Haaland could play reduced minutes, could be benched. Same with Ekitike, same with Salah. All of these guys could be benched heading into this game week, right? Whereas Bruno hasn't got that concern, plays 90 minutes, is the talisman for that side, has set pieces. Villa as well, their away record at the moment is dreadful. They're really on a bit of a downward spiral. United, 5 unbeaten at home as well. So, there we go. Just joined the stream. Hope you're all good. Wondering why Pickford over the Bravka. Again, looking at my own model, they're literally neck and neck on terms of predicted points for this game week. And Pickford is one of those goalkeepers where he very easily could hit double-digit hauls against some sides. We also asked the coin as well. About it, and the coin went go Pickford. So yeah, there we go. Yep, look, Salah is a risk. If you are going to buy him this week, he is a risk. I'm not saying like he's a guaranteed like he's definitely going to bang in the points. He is a risk if you want to take it, but it's one of those, isn't it? Gakpo or Vert selling Haaland. I personally would probably go neither. Again, I can't guarantee either are going to play this week. Reckon Sanchez has got a chance of starting. I do after the poor performance the goalkeeper made in midweek. I definitely think there is an opportunity to do it. Is Mook a must sell? Apparently he might be back next week. That would be the case if not. I think any normal week, yes, Haaland would be the standout go-to captain. The problem is the fact that Pep's saying like we can't stick with the same 11 every single day, every single game when we're playing like 3 games a week. Haaland has like been in and out of the side. He's been out of form. Like there is just that little bit of reason why people are, of course, looking to go against him. 3 more minutes before the coin. The coin knows. The big coin knows. He's getting ready, bless him. He's getting ready for the big decision of the season. Krupi or Gravenberch or Chow, start one. I probably would go with Gravenberch. Spurs are 5th for goals conceded to CDM, so it could actually be a quite nice game for Gravenberch. He has. I personally probably would not go for it, but yeah, he's definitely been, all right, ticking along. Dookie, your questions coming in. Obviously, the big coin decision will be done at 11, whether or not we're buying Mohamed Salah or whether or not we are just sticking with what we've got. Who's your all-time greatest Prem player? Ooh, I think Salah has to enter that conversation. He's just been so consistent for years. I know he's having a bad year this year, but yeah, he definitely is up there. I think Aguero as well. Like, again, just so consistent every single season. We do need like some sounds, don't we? Like some monk sounds, like oh. Can you start supporting City in the Prem? I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Yeah, I don't. I've seen enough City games. I don't need to see any more. I'm all good. Start Munoz or Wilson. I probably would go with Wilson. Harry Kane is also a fantastic shout. I would love Harry Kane to be back in the Premier League and FPL. He really would give us a big decision because this is the thing. I'm looking at the premiums for next year, and again, I'm just thinking, like, if Salah goes, who are we picking? Like, we're just going to go, everyone's going to go Bruno and Haaland because it'll probably be easy enough to get them in, both of them. Like, it's kind of one of those, isn't it? Where I'm not really seeing any premiums emerge at the moment. Maybe Palmer, but again, hasn't pulled up like mega trees this season, has he? So, yeah, it's kind of one of those, isn't it, really? Right. It has just struck 11 o'clock on my laptop and on my phone. I don't know why this computer's 1 minute behind, but it is. Spooktacular. Right. It has now struck 11. The big decision, ladies and gentlemen, the coin. The coin is going to decide if we're going to bring in Mohamed Salah and if we're going to bring in João Pedro for Erling Haaland and Morgan Rogers. It's a big, probably game-defining coin flip we're about to do. I'm a little bit nervous. If, of course, it lands on the opposite, we are just going to roll this week. We're going to captain Bruno Fernandes. We'll take free transfers into next game week. If it does, we are switching out Haaland and we are switching out Morgan Rogers. Captaincy, I'm still unsure on. Like, I'm tempted to go with Salah, but I could also still leave it on Bruno. We might have to do another coin flip for that one. But here we go. We're going to go with Salah and the João Pedro move as heads. Whoa, we're going to go with the tails as the non-move, okay? All right, we're giving it the big flip. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Here we go. It's landed heads. It has landed heads. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are here, and we are doing it. It has been confirmed. We're doing it. All right. Bye-bye, Haaland. And bye-bye, Rogers. It feels sickening to do, but we're doing it. It's done. It is done, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. There we go. Oh. Right, we've still got the captaincy on Bruno for now. But yeah, there we go. Haaland is gone from the team. Haaland is gone from the team. It will fully happen, that will. Yeah, there we go. Obviously, we're going to wildcard in game week 32. That is the current plan. Last decision, I guess, is do we go Bruno or do we go Salah with the captaincy? That is the big question, isn't it? Who am I planning on captain? Yeah, I think we are probably going to be looking at maybe Bruno or maybe Salah. I think that's the big one it comes down to. People are putting big mistake. Haaland hat-trick incoming. It probably will happen. It probably will happen. The coin told me to bench boost. Hey, you've got to trust the coin. Sometimes it is this game, though, isn't it? Where, yeah, it can all come down to it. Like I said, we're going to wildcard in a few weeks. We're taking on Haaland for 1 week, realistically. And it is a week where maybe he is benched. Maybe he doesn't deliver the returns. But the coin has spoken, ladies and gentlemen. We've made the move. We've brought in Mohamed Salah. And we brought in João Pedro for Haaland. Scary times ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Scary times ahead. Coin toss for Salah versus Palmer. Yeah, no worries, mate. We can do that. Heads is going to be Salah. Tails is going to be Palmer, okay? Heads it is, my friend. Heads it is, my friend. If Haaland scores a hat-trick, I've been here before where I've not owned Haaland and he's done me in. So it's just one of those, isn't it? And at this point, the season is kind of gone a little bit. It's kind of gone a little bit. So I think for a 2-week kind of punt, let's see if we can try and get ourselves in a decent position, get ourselves back on track, and go for it. I probably would go Evan Nielsen ahead of Enzo this week. Imagine both score a hat-trick. Yeah, I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening. Could O'Reilly play the game? He definitely could. I've seen him as a 50% on the jump the wave predictions, though. Yeah, he's gone for he's 50% on the jump the wave predictions. Update on Wilson. They're going to wait and see on Wilson. So there'll be a decision made. Haaland scores 4. Someone's just put. Update on Anderson. Again, we didn't get any update really on that one. Yeah, we didn't really get it, but the big coin has spoken. We've done it. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, here we are with Salah and João Pedro in our team. Salah and João Pedro are in the side for this week. And yeah, it could all go terribly wrong. By about 10 o'clock this evening, I could be in tears. Or we could be laughing. We could be going, this was the greatest move of our lives if Salah. Yeah. I left for 2 minutes and now Haaland is gone. Yep. We did the coin flip at 11 and he's disappeared. He's vanished. Look, if you don't want it, you don't want it, mate. That's how I would say it. If you don't fancy it, then like that's completely up to you, isn't it? That is completely up to you. If you don't feel it, then don't do it. I've obviously gone for it because, again, I've been kind of contemplating this move probably since like the start of the week. I thought we'll leave it down to the coin. We'll see what the coin gives me in terms of its information for the week. And that's what we've done. All right. That is what we've done. Next question is, do we give him the band? Do we give him the band? I guess it's again for the coin, isn't it, really? Tails is we give it Salah. Heads is we give it Bruno, okay? Tails it is. Oh, my days. Wish me luck, ladies and gentlemen. I could be, yeah, I could be finished this week. Yeah. We're there. No, I haven't taken Haaland out due to an injury. It is me just using my transfers. But yeah, there we go. Crazy few minutes that could easily define the season. Yeah. And you've all witnessed it live. And next week, tune in for a meltdown because I'm 600k in the world. It could be an okay option. He could like potentially double, but I probably wouldn't if I've not got my wild card left. I'm going to hope Haaland scores a hat-trick. I will just be in tears if he does. I will be in tears. But if he's benched, oh my days. If we get news later that he's benched, I could see a lot of people making that switch to Salah, really. Do I always decide via a coin toss? Sometimes, yes. It's kind of this decision of Salah and João Pedro is one that I have been contemplating all week. It's not like I've just woke up and gone, I'm going to do it. But it is one that I've thought about. Yesterday, I was pondering around with my model, other models, looking at what it was predicting for the next 2 weeks. And it was all kind of suggesting this could be the play. This could be the most optimal play to make, right? So it isn't just me willy-nilly doing it. There is other stuff that goes in behind the scenes and me looking at models, my own model, looking at predicted points. But sometimes it does come down to a coin decision because like I said, I've been umming and ahhing over this decision. And sometimes it just takes that decision away from me where I go, I back the coin. Let's just have it. So yeah. We've gone with it. We're taking on Haaland. I guess we're taking on Bruno this week, looking at the captaincy. Yeah, he could be plus 100 easy. Yeah. Wish me luck, ladies and gentlemen. Wish me luck. Because we're going to need it this week, I think. But hey-ho. We'll be there. I've got my free hit left as well. Further down the line. I would probably go with Anderson. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think we've been probably playing the game based off other people's opinions and other people's decisions. This is one I've wanted to do for a few weeks. Probably should have done it a few weeks ago. We're doing it now. Yeah. bench boost this game week. I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, my bench boost isn't bad for this game week, is it? It could very easily get by, but I think with Wilson just being a doubt, probably going to skip it this game week. But yeah, you could very easily get it going. Yeah, it could be something that you get going. Do keep your questions coming in, guys. We're going to be live for like another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap things up for today. Obviously, like I said, the big decision this game week, we have made it. We've ditched Haaland, we brought in João Pedro, and we have gone for Mohamed Salah. Yeah, fixtures, pros versus cons. I mean, Salah up against Spurs, who have like no fit centre backs, by the way. Spurs as well have conceded double-digit hauls to 2 right wingers in a row now. Palmer, I don't mind Palmer. I think he could be a decent option. I do just worry about his fitness, given the quick turnaround of these games. I think we maybe could see some reduced minutes for Palmer. That is the concern I would have. I also think he's not the main guy at the moment for Chelsea. Like, if anybody's going to score for Chelsea, it's going to be João Pedro. It's not going to be him. So, yeah. I don't think I would do the -4. I also don't think Wirtz is going to start. Some of the predictions have, of course, Szoboszlai in there. So probably would be enough to put me off going for Wirtz this week. Yeah, probably would be enough to put me off going Wirtz this week. Oh, dearie me. Hopefully it all goes right. Hopefully it all goes right. If not, yeah. See you next season. But I think we're kind of close to that point anyway, aren't we, really? Where it was kind of like, we were touching on bits where it was kind of like, well, we're kind of at see you next season territory already. Richard saw Gahey, Dubravka on the bench. Should I bench boost? It's not a bad bench boost, but I probably, if you've still got the wild card, would rather set it up a little bit later on for 33. Should I start Krupi or transfer and die to Sarr and maybe start him? The problem with Sarr is he doesn't play next week. Has no fixture next week. So yeah, there we go. Oh, mate, you are getting out of here. Do I keep Roofs and Mook for the blank? Let's see what update we get next week from the manager. It could be positive. It could be, well, we hope it's positive for a lot of people's sakes. Bench boost this week. I'm not going to go for it, but I mean, my bench does look all right. It very easily could score quite well, but it could also go tits up if Anderson and Wilson don't play, and then we're left with egg on our face. And I think we've got the wild card. We can set it up quite nicely in a few game weeks' time, so I'm going to do that. Right, guys, I think we are going to leave it there for today. Obviously, thank you for everybody in today's stream. Like I said, this is the team for this week. Salah captain. Let's rise up my Egyptian king, and hopefully he gets us some juicy attacking returns. Of course, guys, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. There'll be a video out later tonight with my top transfer targets, obviously looking ahead at game week 31, blank game week 31, that is. So yeah, thank you for everybody in today's stream. Absolute legends as always. We're going to wrap it up for today. And the best of luck, ladies and gentlemen, for this game week.